Once again, the Kelowna Rockets find themselves down to their last chance. With the game on the line in Game 3, the playoffs' top point producer came through for the home side. With one tremendous comeback already in the books in Round 1, the Rockets face the same steep mountain in Round 2. So close to victory in Game 3, the Rockets are still looking for answers to solve their closest rival.
Oh my! How did that get in?
The series is now on the line. Game 4 from Kamloops, next on Shaw. Well, getting a look at the hero from last night, J.C. LaPon, continuing to produce points for the Kamloops Blazers, a league-high 19 in the playoffs. He had the overtime winner last night, his second game-winning goal in the 2013 playoffs. A triumphant return for J.T. Barnett. No rust at all for him for the Kelowna Rockets. Missed 8 games because of illness, but scored twice last night for the Rockets in a losing cause. And speaking of returns, Tyson Bailey back in for the Kelowna Rockets after he served a 2-game suspension. The leading scorer for the Kelowna Rockets in the playoffs with 12 points going into Game 4 tonight of the Scout Tire Western Conference semifinal. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the WHL on Shaw and WHL Central, brought to you by Sierra Sil. I'm Andy Neal, and a reminder, the WHL playoffs are brought to you by Husky and Cal Tire. Well, the Kamloops Blazers are on the verge for a trip to the third round for the first time since they went to the league final in 1999. And even without Colin Smith and Tim Bozon, two players that combined for almost 200 points in the regular season, the Kamloops offense has been fine in this series. 14 goals so far in the 3 games. They've had 5 in each of the last 2, including that exciting 5-4 overtime win last night against one of the stingiest defensive teams in the WHL. But certainly injuries are a big reason for that for the Kelowna Rockets. It's been a big story for the Rockets in the playoffs so far, but as the series has gone along, they've been starting to plug some holes in that injury-ravaged lineup. We mentioned J.T. Barnett returning last night, scoring twice. They got Carter Rigby and Mitchell Wheaton back in Game 2, and tonight Tyson Bailey, as mentioned before, returns to the lineup after he served his 2-game suspension. Colin Smith will be sitting out for the 3rd straight game for the Kamloops Blazers. So a 5th elimination game for the Kelowna Rockets here in the 2013 playoffs. And to get you set, let's go upstairs to Dan Russell and Bill Wilms. Guys?
Andy, what an emotional game last night. The lead changed 5 times. There was so many momentum swings, and then the fantastic finish from a Kamloops standpoint in overtime.
3 minutes and 43 seconds of overtime, as exciting as you could possibly get. Right when the puck was dropped, it was back and forth. Chase Soto gives Kamloops an opportunity there. How about Madison Bowie to side in that same rush? Up the ice goes Dylan Willick. And then Soto one more time, and then the goal that wins it. Watch this, folks. You got to appreciate Radford does stops and starts with a forecheck, goes behind the net because he thinks something's good going to happen there. Look at the pass he makes between 3 Kelowna Rockets right to LaPon. It finishes it. They tell me the place was noisier than it's ever been in this building.
And the Rockets, they played their best game by far of the series with nothing to show for it at the very end. I suppose one of the reasons for that, Bill, was they had some suspect goaltending.
Well, yeah, they did. I mean, really, this Kelowna Rocket team did a lot of things last night that they had to get a big save. It's not always how many you make, but it's a big save. Ryan Olsen gets his first playoff goal there. Gives Kelowna the 2-1 lead. What happens? Dylan Willick off the wall. The score there to ties the game at 2. That's the end of the night for Jordan Cook. Now Cole Martin gives him a 4-3 lead. And what happens right after that? That puck is deflected by Willick again. Now you see on the left, there's Cook on the bench. There's Jackson Whistle in the game. You see the anxiety on his face. He's like saying, hey, is this ever going to quit? Is this ever going to end out here?
Now Kelowna should get a boost. They've got Tyson Bailey back in their lineup tonight after a 2-game suspension, and boy, they're just hoping he can mean to their lineup what J.T. Barnett's return meant to the Rockets last night.
Yeah, J.T. Barnett, boy, I'll tell you, he's tore his knee the first game he played for the Kelowna Rockets and was ill recently, comes back into the lineup, takes a great pass there from Merkley, shooting on the fly. That tied the game at 1, and another cross-ice pass from Merkley there. That tied the game at 3. This is how close he came to getting the hat trick. That's 17 in front of the net. I thought he was great last night.
Another elimination game for Kelowna, and as you mentioned, Andy, it could be the first time in a long time that Kelowna, or rather Kamloops, gets to round 3. Let's go back to you.
And just a reminder, this game is on in high definition on channel 304. Hard to believe that the Kamloops Blazers' last overtime win in the playoffs at home. You have to go all the way back to 1996. Jerome McGinley scored the winner against the Tri-City Americans in the second round of that 96 playoffs. 7 straight overtime losses on home ice until J.C. Lapon ended it last night. And J.C. has been on such a roll in these playoffs. He and Victor Rask of the Calgary Hitmen, the only players to score in every playoff game thus far in the 2013 playoffs. As mentioned, Lapon, the leading scorer of postseason production with 19 points so far in the playoffs. 3 teams facing eliminations tonight, including the Rockets, who will try to stay alive in Game 4 here on the WHL on Shaw.
Welcome back to the Interior Savings Center in Kamloops. This is Dan Russell alongside Bill Wilms as we get ready for Kelowna and Kamloops game number 4. And for Kelowna, it's their 6th game in 9 nights. But not so much for Tyson Bailey. He's had a couple days away, days that he wished he did not have. But he's back in the lineup, and he's standing by with Stu.
Thanks very much, Dan. And Tyson, you're back from that 2-game suspension. How hungry are you to get back in there, and can you let the suspension change your game?
I'm just really anxious to get back in the lineup here, and not at all. No, I'm going to go be physical as I can, finish all my checks, and create energy for the guys.
We all saw the comeback in round 1. You came back from that 3-0 series deficit against Seattle. Why do you think your group can do that again?
It's just the character we have, and we got our bodies back. We got Wayne, Rigby, and Barnett back that we didn't have last series, so we're healthier than we have been before.
Thanks for this, Tyson. Good luck.
Thank you.
Guys.
All right, Stu, thanks for that. Here's your starting goalies for Jack Lynx. Feed your wild side. He is back, and I don't think there's much surprise he would be. He battled so hard for Kelowna this year, and he deserves to be back. Jordan Cook against Cole Cheveldae, who was outstanding again last night. He's got 7 wins, 2 losses, and a 2.57 goals against average. Chris Critch and Devin Klein are your linesmen. Your referees Mike Langan and Nathan Van Oosten are your linesmen. As we are underway now for game number 4. Kamloops in white, Kelowna in their red uniforms. And off the opening draw, there's Madison Bowie. Bowie getting it to Fowley. Bowie has to recover though. Soto goes in. Soto shoots, and Cook makes the save. There's Fowley with the puck. Fowley gets the puck out to the center ice area and is slammed right back in again. And Cook will, well, it pops over his stick and Stadel will get possession. Stadel plays it out here to the open wing. Fowley missed it there, and now it's Yulee. Yulee getting the puck back for Joel Edmondson. Inside the line, Ranford. Well, you got to watch for him to score the first goal. He's only done that 3 times out of 3 in this series. Wearing number 19 and still wearing that full, now good luck face cage. He may have it on the rest of the way things are going. Comes around this near side. Yulee has it for Kamloops. As he lifts it down into the Kelowna zone, Martin and Ranford collide on the boards. Ranford comes up to the puck, tried to feed the line, could not. Nyberg starts back the other way, but he handed it away. Didn't get the pass to McKinley. And here's Joel Edmondson. Edmondson up for J.C. Lapon, the hero from last night, tipping the puck inside the Kelowna line. Severson has it now. Cross ice to Martin. Back for Severson. Severson. Pass through the middle, chip towards the line. Here's a break the other way, and it's Dylan Willick cutting in on goal. Willick right in, and he's chopped. That will be a penalty. Cook made the save. Bell's going to get the penalty. No penalty shot. There'll be a slashing penalty on Miles Bell.
Well, this is the very last thing you want, to blow a tire in the neutral ice area and have Dylan Willick pick that puck up at that point. And you know, with his speed and his quickness, and Miles Bell, in a desperation move, coming back, tries to put the slash on the puck. He knows when he makes that play, it's probably going to get some skate or some leg, but that is what you call a good penalty, folks.
So the first power play of the night, Kamloops is 4 for 15 in the series. They've really owned the special team battle here, as Kelowna is 1 for 10 in the series with the man advantage. There's Yulee getting it behind the net for Needham. Needham has Hervis at the point taking the pass, has Grist on this side, but Needham takes the pass back on the half wall. Now Grist with the puck. Hard pass misses Yulee on the far side, and Wheaton trying to get position. He did that, but he couldn't get the puck, and it's held in. Here's Hervis now. Hervis over to Grist. Grist back to Hervis. Hervis has Yulee over there in the circle taking the shot, but that is blocked by Wheaton, and it goes down the ice. What can you say about Wheaton and his courageousness? First to get back in the series, and then last night to get back in the game, and blocking that shot, he goes to the bench on a line change.
Yeah, I heard that same shoulder last night, but you mentioned that earlier, Dan. Doctors have cleared him, saying you're not going to hurt it anymore at this stage. So, I thought he was a very valiant effort last night.
Brendan Ranford going back to collect the puck. Ranford in this series, 4 goals and 2 assists, leading the way for sure. Here's Lapon, back to Edmondson. Edmondson down here to Kessie. His shot off the side of the net. Kessie puts the puck over to Ranford. Back for Kessie, back for Ranford. Martin trying to check him. Puck is loose in the slot areas. It's whacked over on this side, and jumping on it is Lapon. Lapon lost the puck, and down the ice it goes. Half a minute to go in the Bell penalty. Ranford goes back to collect the puck. Kelowna completing a penalty kill change as they get a couple of fresh bodies out there. Here comes Ranford through the middle. Hard pass, that'll be icing. Too hard, and this Kamloops icing.
Jordan Cook has faced elimination or played in elimination games 4 times this year. He's 4-0, made 103 saves on 111 shots in those games for a .927 save percentage. Can't do it a whole lot better than that in games where your season is on the line. He's still got 20 seconds left in this Kamloops power play, but the good thing for Cook, the face-off is way down the ice.
It's funny, this is their 11th playoff game. They've really never played yet with a lead in the series. They were down 3-0 to Seattle. The only time they led in the series, the game was over. It was sudden death. And then they started this one and lost the first 3 games. So the Kelowna Rockets literally have been playing from behind since the playoffs have begun. There's Cross being knocked down, but his puck stayed in. Good job by Cross. Friesen gets it down low. Cornelison trying to get it in front. Nyberg tying him up. Penalty over. Bell back on the ice. Kamloops 0 for 1 with the man advantage as it's controlled by Bowie. Bowie trying to move the puck up the boards. He's checked. Cornelison tries to work it in front. He did, and it comes off a glove right into the goaltender, Cook. That's Friesen who gloved it down. Not sure that would have counted.
Well, let's take a quick look at the series to this point. You see the shot, differential, not a ton. I think that power play difference is a critical one with the Blazers winning it at this point. And like you say, Brendan Ranford has scored the first goal for the Kamloops Blazers 3 times. You see, what happens sometimes is you get a defenseman with the explosiveness that Bowie has. You kind of overskate the puck a little bit. That ended up in front of the net, and Kelowna had to be good on defense.
Had the calculator out today too, Bill. Kelowna has played with the lead for only 4% of this series out of the 184 minutes played, and Kamloops for 53%. They've been playing with the lead. Edmondson winding up for the shot, and that is gloved by Cook. Let's go down to Stu Walters.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Talked to Ryan Husky before the game. He said it was a no-brainer to go back with Jordan Cook as his starting goaltender tonight. He says he's the guy that got him here to this point, and he says he will have to be their best player tonight. Also said not necessarily going to be on a short leash, so we'll see how that works, and we'll see how he rebounds tonight.
Stu Walters right in front of Jackson Whistle, or right behind him. Jackson came in to replace Cook after Cook was pulled. 3 goals on 11 shots. That's the very first playoff experience for Whistle last night. He'll never forget that. Here's Lapon. He can't get the puck towards the net. Bell out to Franco. Franco in over the line with Bailey. Tyson Bailey back in the series and back getting a shot on goal. And there's Cheveldave making the save.
Yeah, some good puck movement through the neutral ice area. Both these teams with the offense they've got, they want to move between the blue lines with some speed. And they've got guys that can shoot that puck off the fly. Tyson Bailey loves that. Good work here. That's that little move through the neutral ice area. Good shot. Cheveldave out in a good spot to make that save.
Bailey with 7 goals in these playoffs. That's 3rd best in the WHL. Ratty from Portland has 10. Kessie from Kamloops has 9. And then there's Bailey with 7. There's a chance in the slot for Lapon, and it just went off a body and then hit Ranford at the side of the net. Franco gets the puck out to the neutral zone. Talk about players the Rockets need to get going. Franco does not have a point in this series, and Franco was the 2nd leading point getter on Kelowna all year with 72 points.
Yeah, he cannot be quiet, Dad. There's no question that he's got to be involved. He had 0 goals the last 6 games now that he's played, Dan, against Seattle and Kamloops. Season against the Kamloops Blazers, he led the Rockets. He had the 3 goals. He had the 9 assists. He had the 12 points. But, boy, I'll tell you what, when that guy there isn't getting pucks on the net and getting scoring chances, I just don't like the Rockets' chances unless those skill guys are really performing.
Purvis goes back to collect the puck around the boards. It comes out here to Wheaton. Wheaton puts it behind the net. Early shots are 4-1 for Kamloops, but they did have the power play. This is the first zone time that Kelowna's had in the first 5 minutes. Puck scored free, and a quick shot by Barnett. That's knocked down by Cheveldae. Barnett goes in to throw a check, and now here's Mitch Lepon with the puck. Onto the tape of Connolly as he's in with Willick. Connolly takes a shot that's blocked by Wheaton. Connolly gets it back again and shovels it back to the net. Madison Bowie will cut right up the middle. Bowie gets it to JT Barnett. He sends it deep into the Kamloops zone, and Kelowna will make a change. Cross. His pass off a skate. Olsen tries to tip it forward. Olsen hit by Cornelison. Down goes Olsen. Fans respond. And Olsen looks a little shaken up. In fact, he's more than that. Olsen is really just getting to the bench now. So there's another body on Kelowna that takes a hit in the neutral zone. And Olsen doubled over at the bench. Sure to get looked at there by the training staff. Just a solid open ice hit by Cornelison. Olsen scored his first goal of the playoffs last night. I don't mean this year, I mean any year. Here's Soto coming up with a loose puck. Stadel coughed it up, but the Blazers don't make him pay. Here comes Nyberg the other way. Nyberg will flip it down low. Goulburn chasing after it, so too is Edmondson. Around the boards to this side, it's Kessie trying to dig it out of his skates. He did a good job to get it to Edmondson. And now Needham up to Soto. Battle over here. And Kessie on a sharp angle gets that shot on goal. Kessie putting it on the goal from a sharp angle. Why not? All those goals he has in these playoffs. Might just shoot from anywhere. Got one last night. As I mentioned, he has 9 in postseason. 2 hat tricks in the Victoria Series, both on the road. Cheveldae doing a nice little job of stick handling in that trap. So there's a potential giveaway, but Rockets slow to develop. Fowley finally gets it. And then he turned it over, and here comes Ranford. Gaining speed, trying to go around Martin. Ranford still with possession. As he threw it in front, it comes back to Edmondson. Edmondson puts it behind the net. Yulee giving chase. So to his Fowley. Lepon jumps on the puck. Good job by Lepon. Chris, long shot. Yulee tips it off the target. Yulee gets possession. Back of the net for J.C. Lepon. Lepon fighting off the check. And then dumping it back behind for Ranford, who was waiting right for it. Ranford and Martin this time colliding. Ranford throws it in front. Nothing but red-shirted Rockets there, and Fowley has it. Now Ranford the other way. Ranford again. Long shift for Brendan Ranford. Nice pass. Chris, lots of room. Chris, shot is stopped by Cook, and he holds on to stop the play.
Earlier, Ranford stayed in the corner of the rink, knew that that puck was eventually going to come there, and made the pass. Doesn't go off the ice, stays out for another shift, and makes a wonderful pass back to Sam Grist. Reads the ice perfectly. Back to the hit. This is Cornelison, number 10, with the hit on Ryan Olsen. Dan, when you're a role player like Cornelison is, like Macklin is, the role players are so important. But here's why. They're always trying to make an impression. Macklin has got a couple goals. That's the impression he's made. There's a great hit by Cornelison. That's the kind of impression he wants to make on the coaching staff. And at this time of year in playoffs, all those little things mean a lot.
One impression the Rockets didn't want was a 4-minute penalty, Bill. A 4-minute penalty for Severson on the clock. A double minor for high sticking. I don't know, did we catch that on the replay there? I don't know who Severson got. But it's a double minor, and that's the last thing the Kelowna Rockets needed.
Well, you know, Dan, I've always thought that Severson, the New Jersey draft second round is so solid. It gives you a physical game that you sometimes don't notice. But that's right in front of the net. That's why that happens there. It's not in the corner. It's not a hit up against the boards. Not even a check in front of the net. It's just carelessly swinging your stick over your shoulder and making contact with a Blazer.
Down the ice it goes once more. So this is the first penalty in this series that has been a double minor. We had a long 5-on-3 last night. Kamloops did not score. There were still a lot of people wondering how they couldn't. They had so many unbelievable chances. It was a very exciting moment in the game. Hervis over to the other side. Long shot, kick save by Cook on the grist shot. Fowley brings the puck in over the line. Kelowna did have a short-handed goal last night. That was the goal scored by Olsen. Incidentally, Olsen has not returned to the ice since getting stood up in the neutral zone, but I believe he's still at the bench. Here's Willick. Willick brings it in over the blue line, dumps it to the corner, gets it himself. Willick to Lepon. Lepon to Ranford, off his stick and to the line and out. Now we're right on that blue line, and it looked very, very close, but the linesman did whistle it down offside.
Yeah, we were talking to Stu McGregor, the head scout of the Edmonton Oilers, about the acquisition of Cale Kessie, and he was telling us that maybe being held back as far as his aggressiveness because of his suspension concern, he couldn't go to the kind of game that he likes to play. It became more of a development game. It was a good thing for him. He became a better hockey player, and he said when he played with Bozon and he played with Smith, or no matter who he played with on the line, McGregor was telling us he never had any problem keeping up. That's how good a skater he's become.
Willick in over the blue line. Willick gets the puck to Kessie. Kessie down low to Willick, misses it over top of the stick of Lepon. Ranford missed it as well. Olsen back on the ice now, and might be a second turn back. He's hitting to the line or to the bench for a line change. So Olsen none the worse for wear.
Dan, if I'm Guy Chiron and his Kamloops crowd right now, I'm getting a little bit nervous. This is a power play that hasn't gone anywhere to this point.
Except there, and they continue to bang at the puck, but the whistle's there. Soto with the last bang, and Cook's got it.
Yeah, but again, you don't mind some of these plays off the rush. You know that this puck here by Edmondson is going to get to the net. That isn't a great scoring chance. And look at the coverage in front of the net there to clear that puck. You get the relatively poor effort in terms of getting the puck on the net. You get a nice save by the goaltender, and you get that puck support. And you can tell by the eyebrows raiser by Guy Chiron, it's like, guys, are you going to score on this 4-minute power play? Still got a minute and 58 left in it.
We're told Zach Franco had a skate issue. Here's a centering pass and a shot on goal. And that stopped as Needham tested Cook. Franco had a skate issue. In fact, we could see him in the tunnel right behind Stu Walters. Looks like he's going to be back soon.
Now that's a scoring chance. So off the face-off, watch where the puck goes. And that's a good pursuit. 2 Kamloops Blazers in that spot. Nice little pass to Needham. Needham going hard in the net. That is a good, I'd say, a quality chance.
Behind the net, second half of the double minor. Third power play already for Kamloops. Hervis winds up, shoots, save made by the top man, but Yulee has a chance in front of the net, and he put it just wide. Yulee's had a lot of good chances in this series. Now we've got a glove hand pass that is stopping the play, and the face-off will come out.
When you're blocking shots anytime in the game, but never mind on a power play, it's not the diving yourself and throwing yourself in front of a shot that necessarily is a big one. It's just getting your body in a shooting lane. And add to that, and this is something that I thought Kamloops did very well last night, is that you block shots sometimes with your stick. Just you got to block them. You don't always have to sacrifice your body to a great extent.
Ranford coming up for Kamloops. Now Lepon in over the line. Lepon's pass, that's picked off by Nyberg and out to the neutral zone. So really not much happening in this power play, but they still have time with 1:10 to go in the power play. Just over 9 minutes left in the first period as Ranford brings it up. Ranford to Willick. Willick in front for Ranford over top his stick. Comes back out here to Edmondson. Behind the net it goes. Kessie waiting for it on the far side. As it squirts free, it comes out to the neutral zone once more. Remember last night, the first period, even though Kamloops led 3-2, they were outshot by a margin of 19-11 in the first period. And so far the shots here are 10-2 Kamloops, but not much in the way of golden chances.
Yeah, Brendan Ranford, 348 games played, 357 points. Fantastic. How about that young man's playoffs experience? He's played 28 games, 38 points. Talking to a couple scouts tonight, they felt last night Brendan Ranford might have had one of his best ever games that they had seen him play. Glad to see that because it's a 20-year-old. My goodness, we hope that a guy like that does get a free agent contract.
Did those scouts see games 1 and 2? Because I thought he was better in Kelowna than he was even last night. He was good here last night.
No, it was just last night's game, and we referenced that too. We talked about the games in Kelowna.
Here's Zodo. Can't get the shot away. Wheaton trying to move it up the boards. Now he'll try this side. Be a race over here. McKinley trying to get after it. Chris puts it in front of the net. Yulee fans on his first shot. Gets a second one away and gets the puck after the rebound. Yulee puts it behind the net for Needham. Didn't get there, and the puck goes down the ice. And the penalty, the double minor for Severson, has been killed off by Kelowna as Severson comes back on the ice. Kamloops is 0 for 3 with the man advantage. There's your first out-of-town scores flashing on your screen, and Medicine Hat facing elimination have a home ice lead. The other game just getting underway as well as ours at the same time, Portland and Spokane. Sharp angle shot. The only two teams in league history that have come back from 3-0 deficits are both in action tonight. 96 Spokane and this year's Kelowna Rockets, both down 0-3 in this series. Edmondson puts the puck back of the net. Cornelson from behind the net. Well, the Rockets hoping that 0-3 can be twice done in the same year. When the New York Islanders did it in 1975, they almost did it the very next round. They fell behind 3-0 and came all the way back 3-3 and then lost a game 7. I believe that was to the Flyers. There's an icing that will stop the play on Kamloops. And so with 7:06 to go in the period, we'll step aside. There's no score. It's game 4, and these are the WHL playoffs on Shaw.
With Rockets head coach Ryan Huska. Ryan, you happy with your team's work ethic so far, killing off 3 penalties, including a double minor? Can that only help give momentum?
I think so. Our penalty kill was good. That was an important stretch for us, and we were pleased the way we handled it.
What was the mood of the team heading into an elimination game? You're 4-0 so far.
Yeah, well, we were disappointed last night. There's no doubt about it, but today's a new day, and we're in a situation now where we have to win one game at a time.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Guys.
Well,
Go ahead.
I thought his team really had a terrific compete level last night. They brought all their firepower. They had 37 shots on shovel day, but Dan, so far they've been outshot 11-2. They haven't been able to get going. They've had 6 minutes in penalty kill to this point.
65 playoff games behind the bench for Huska. 34 wins, 31 defeats. Off the boards in the neutral zone, there is Merkley. Merkley has a couple assists in these playoffs. He goes to the bench now. He made a lot happen for Kelowna. Ranford, up it goes for Mitch Lepond, brought in over the blue line. Mitch holding the puck back for Edmondson, long shot, that's blocked away by Cook. Into the corner. Martin and Mitch Lepond, and it comes free to Kamloops. Here's a centering pass, and a save, and a rebound by Needham. Another chance by Needham, and off the side of the net. Maybe the goalpost, and a penalty coming up again. And again, it's going to be Kelowna, I believe. Arm still in the air, now confusion. Who's got the penalty here? Kamloops touches the puck. Now the two
happen here. Number one, they get that puck from that spot. That's a good work ethic by the Blazers, but I think the saves by Cook is terrific. He needs that as a bounce-back game. The third thing that happens here is a penalty to Severson. Or is there? Nothing's up on the clock. There sure is. It's another 2-minute penalty to Severson, arguably the toughest defenseman that you want on the ice on your penalty kill. And again, it just puts Ryan Huska's team back on defense.
Severson really learning his lesson. Gets a double minor for high sticking, and then a minute later gets another high sticking penalty. Edmondson at the point, can't hold it in, and now Fowley has a chance to send Olsen away, but the pass is a poor one. Olsen was behind the defense. And again, as mentioned last night, that's how Olsen scored his first goal of the playoffs, shorthanded. Here comes J.C. Lepond. Lepond going in. Pokes it over here to Willick. Wheaton has it around the boards. Edmondson waiting for it. Here's a fake shot. Edmondson brings it back for Ranford. Ranford in front of the net. Picked off. Battle there between Bowie and Willick. Kessie in there as well. Edmondson wins it. And it goes around the boards over on the far side for Ranford. J.C. Lepond, lots of room back there. Lepond with his head up, throws it in front, and Willick just put it wide of the net. Dylan Willick with 2 goals last night. Nearly had another one there. Here's J.C. Lepond. LaPon holding the puck. Hard pass through the goal mouth area. More urgency this time for Kamloops. Ranford back of the net. LaPon has it. Now Ranford once more. Ranford, a hard pass. It doesn't get there, but it goes to LaPon. JC LaPon in front. Score! Kessie again on the power play, and the Kamloops Blazers lead it 1-0.
You know, it's absolutely fascinating to me to watch Kessie just do what he does. Number 22, front of the net. Stay there. Be a big guy. Be strong. Be on your stick. And have two guys work their buns off behind the net to get you the puck. LaPon, Willick, the two guys that you want to do all that work against the back wall. Cale Kessie says, you know what, I'll take my residence, I'll go to my office, you put the puck here, I got a chance to put it in the net. But Dan, this is inexcusable for the Rockets to have that many penalties in this first period.
At the number 19, Brendan Ranford.
It's Ranford who gets the second assist, and LaPon gets another assist. He's got 5 assists in this series, JC LaPon does, and that's 7 points now for Ranford. And Kessie has just tied Ty Ratty for most goals in the entire WHL. Ratty and Kessie. Ratty you can see with 10. Kessie, you never would have predicted that. Bowie from the line. His shot is turned aside. The shot's 15-3 in favor of Kamloops. But 4 power plays. You get yourself in that kind of penalty trouble, especially high sticks. Basically a triple minor to Severson. He got a little bit of a break, but to take 6 minutes of high sticking penalties, one player in an elimination game, you can't do that. Bowie starts back. Bowie in over the line. Bowie's shot is tipped out of play.
Yeah, that's the last thing Ryan Huska and his hockey club need, is to just play defense throughout most of this first period. Boy, I mean, it'll zap all that offense that you try to create. They had such a great night. We talked about it here last couple minutes. 37 shots for Huska's team and a total of 3 to this point with 4:15 left in period number 1. Now the face-off in the Kamloops zone. They've got to somehow turn this around now, the Rockets, and go to work in that zone where the puck is now.
Martin back inside his own blue line. Almost forced off the puck. Kessie slams it back into the Kelowna zone. Severson back on the ice after serving those penalties. Severson's long pass picked off. Sodo goes back the other way. Severson picks off that pass. Goldborn, his pass picked off by Ranford. Now chopped out by Severson. Down the ice by Heffley. Heffley in his 25th career playoff game. Behind the net it goes. Burbis. Now Soto tries to get it for Kamloops. He's knocked off the puck. There's a quick shot by Goldburn, turned aside by Chevalier, who has not been busy. Ranford. A pile up over on the far side. You got Heffley involved. There's no whistle, but Heffley and Grist really going at it behind the plate. And they're still going at it as the puck is way down here. Hansen takes a shot that's blocked by Nyberg. And the stick came out of Nyberg's hand. Boy, Heffley and Grist were tied up well behind the play, and the referees just allowed play to continue. Wheaton and Bowie on the back here. Bowie's pass easily picked off by LaPon. Ranford now. LaPon hit by Bowie, and there'll be a penalty, and they'll be 5 times shorthanded in the first period, as Bowie will take a check from behind penalty. We'll sort that out after we remind you the WHL on Shaw is proud to recognize Travelodge as an official partner of the WHL. Travelodge, nice rooms, great people.
Mitch Wheaton has the Kamloops player right in his sights to that point. He's number 6. Everything's looked after. He's the guy that's getting the penalty, or is it?
No.
No, it's
Bowie.
Madison Bowie. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. Ryan Hessen's got to say, guys, you can't do that. And it's always a defenseman that's taking that penalty.
That's Bowie for checking from behind at 17:21. Can you believe Kamloops has had 5 first period power plays? And there's Ranford's pass hard for Kessie right in his office there. Ranford LaPon, down it goes. Here's Willick. Willick goes right to the net with Kessie, and Cook covers it up to stop the play. And Kamloops smelling blood on this power play.
Yeah, Willick trying to force that puck into the net. Again, not much there, and he says, you know what, I'll take this pass and I'm just going to bull my way. Watch his chin. I've always said, watch a player's chin. If that chin is down, you know he's ready to go into traffic. You get guys going to that zone with their chin up, they're not going very far. They're not, they're too afraid of the contact.
Down the ice it goes, 16-4 now, the shots in favor of Kamloops. It's a period that when you watch Kelowna here, now they've been taking undisciplined penalties as you see LaPon bringing it over the line. LaPon throwing it in front. Edmondson had it go off the backboards right back in front of the net. Willick has it now as they jump on it, backed out to Ranford. Ranford behind the net for LaPon. LaPon. Back it goes. Ranford. Here's Edmondson now. Edmondson down to Willick. Willick moves in, shoots. Saved by Cook, and he holds on.
Saw Willick earlier trying to muscle that puck into the net. He skates off the ice a little frustrated because he probably didn't expect to get this good a chance right here. A lot of time. He looks off, another point man. In fact, gets a shot on net. Cook with a nice save. Positional save.
Face-off won by Kamloops. Grist from the line. Off the backboards it goes. Yulee can't get his stick on it. Battle for it here. Yulee does get his stick on it, and he puts it behind the net. Needham has the puck. Back it goes up to the blue line. Herbis or Needham. Wheaton trying to check in. Soto from back of the net. Soto spinning back there. Tries to work it in front. There's Yulee with it. Yulee takes a shot. Hit a stick, goes wide. Stadel backhands it to the line. Held in by Grist. And then given away by Goldberg. Down low. Here's Needham. Needham makes a move, takes a shot, and Cook makes the save with 1:07 to go in the period.
Most goals, coaches will tell you, you had a chance to get that puck out. There's a chance you couldn't get it out, and how quickly, that's a turnover at the top. Now quickly move it down low, try to look to somebody up high, nobody there to give it to. And again, Cook there to make the save. 28 seconds left in this power play.
And again, the face-off won by Kamloops. Nyberg jumps up. Well, it's the prototypical first period of a team that lost a heartbreaker last night and is down 3-0 for the second time in a series. It doesn't always work out this way, but Kelowna Rockets have done nothing in this period. Nothing in the way of a scoring chance. Now, albeit they've been shorthanded a lot.
Well, that's the whole thing, though, Dan. They haven't even had a chance to get a scoring chance. You're defending all the time.
Shot, save. But they're not winning any battles, Bill.
Well, it's tough when you're killing a penalty to win
I understand
battles.
that.
I mean, my goodness. They played how much of this period shorthanded? 19-4 of the shots for the Blazers. I think Kelowna's going to go in that dressing room when this is over, and they're going to say, guys, we dodged a bullet. Let's go to work.
Enough.
It could be 4-0.
Fair enough in so much as dodging the bullet, but in the 10 minutes of even strength, they have 4 shots on goal. Nothing like last night.
And sometimes the hardest thing to do is kill a penalty and then crank it right back on offense when you're back at full strength. You guys got tired. You're tiring some of your big penalty killers out, your key guys.
Centering pass for Bell as the horn sounds, and that'll do it for the first period of play. 19-4. All those penalties. The one goal was Kessie, his 10th at 15:04. And Andy, we send it over to you.
All right, thanks, Dan. We will hear from Kelowna Rockets forward JT Barnett on the other side of the break, who will stop by with Stu Walters. One-on-one with Regan Bartel, the play-by-play voice of the Rockets, and inside the WHL with Peter Labardius. Cale Kessie with his 10th of the playoffs, the only goal in the first period, and the Kamloops Blazers with a 1-0 lead after 1 on the WHL on Shaw.
And welcome back to Kamloops, where the Blazers hold a 1-0 lead over the Kelowna Rockets after 20 minutes of play. Game 4, round 2 of this Western Conference semifinal. Happy to be joined by Rockets forward JT Barnett. And JT, the theme of that opening 20 minutes for you guys, would it have to be discipline?
Yeah, that's one of the things that we really got to focus on here is not taking a lot of penalties. They got an unbelievable power play, so that's one thing that we got to go into this period knowing we can't do anymore.
Is there a fine line from gaining momentum from killing off a penalty kill? But you guys took 5 minors, so you're probably also a little bit tuckered out as well. So it's a give and take thing?
Right. No, it gives us a lot of momentum from killing all of those, not letting them get anything, but also we got a lot of guys that don't kill penalties, so it makes the guys that do kill all of them get a little bit more tired, so the guys that don't have to kind of step up these next periods.
I want to ask you about yourself. You're playing just in your 3rd game of these playoffs. You came back last night with some pretty good flair to 2 goals. Ryan Huska actually predicted before the game that you'd be a key factor in the game. You always are when you come back from a prolonged absence. But how are you feeling health-wise? The thought was you were out with vertigo. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. They did a good job helping me with the recovery and not pushing me. They wanted my health to be the main thing instead of coming back and getting injured again. So we kind of planned it to where I felt good and they felt good and felt comfortable where I would come back and not get injured again. So it was good. It was exciting for me to come back in this arena, and it felt good to get a couple.
And quickly, you guys are outshot 19-4. How do you guys start pushing the offense in this next period?
Like I said before, we took a bunch of penalties, so we're going to look to build off the 5-on-5 that we'll have here now. So we got to just take momentum off of getting pucks in deep and being physical and taking pucks to the net.
All right, thanks for this, JT. Good luck the rest of the way. Thank you. All right, Blazers in front of the Rockets, 1-0. We'll be back with more following these messages.
Kamloops Blazers with a 1-0 lead through 20 minutes of play in Game 4 of this Cal Tire Western semifinal series against the Kelowna Rockets. 1 win away from a trip to round 3 of the playoffs. Please be joined with Regan Bartel, the play-by-play voice of the Rockets. And Regan, boy, that was a tough first period for the Rockets, spending so much time in the penalty box. How did you see it from center ice?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, you're playing way too much shorthanded, and you just can't do that. You take a look to the penalty differential so far in this series. 20 power play chances for Kamloops, only 10 for Kelowna. So, you're going to the box way too many times, and with a team that now is playing their 6th game in 9 nights, fatigue is a huge factor. And when you're playing shorthanded for the majority of that period, that's exactly what you saw. You saw a team that was tiring as the game wore on, or the first 20 minutes, obviously. The key story here is Jordan Cook. I think a real big bounce-back game for him. That opening 20 was huge.
I was going to ask you what the confidence you thought might have been with Jordan coming into tonight.
I was wondering, too, because, here's a guy rattled a little bit, obviously, for what happened last night. The fact that you give up the goals you do, 2 softies. And in this series, there's been obviously a couple of softies in Game 1, Game 2, and in Game number 3. The fact that he was pulled yesterday, I was wondering what the mentality would be of him, and even how his teammates would respond to what he would do in the opening 20. And I really like the fact that they went back with Cook, the veteran netminder. Here's a guy that won 20 consecutive games for this Rocket team this season. That is a franchise record. He wins hockey games. So this 19-year-old, for the coaching staff to put him back in is huge, because remember, he's going to be back next season. And to rattle his confidence right now, to pull him out in a key situation for this team is not good long term.
After what this team has been through, obviously through that first round series, coming back from 0-3, how devastating was the loss last night, considering how well they played and how much they probably deserved the win last night?
Didn't they play well? I mean, it was amazing how good Kelowna was, yet at the end of the day, you still lose the hockey game. Rockets were physical. Winning faceoffs were also a key thing for the Rockets last night in that setback. So how they would come into tonight's hockey game, how much energy would they have? What we saw in the opening 20 minutes shows you the fact that they're using their sticks a little bit more. They're taking some bad penalties. They're a little slow of foot. So from an emotional standpoint, how much do you have there? So far, not so good. But that's where your goaltender has to hold you in. And that's why I think the Rockets should feel good. They're only down by 1 after 20.
How about the positives then through the first 3 games? What have they been able to take going into this, another steep mountain to climb down 0-3?
Well, when you take a look at some of the guys that have really stood out for me, Riley Stahel has been pretty good back on defense. Here's a young 16-year-old. And Cole Martin, another small guy back on D. You got to remember, this guy weighs about 160 pounds. He is not a big man back on defense, but he's been tremendous for the Kelowna Rockets. Ryan Olsen, I thought a big game for him last night, finally elevating his play, lighting the lamp on a beautiful shorthanded goal. Here's a guy with over 30 goals on the season. He has to produce offensively in the playoffs, and he's been really quiet in the goal category. So he gets his game in gear. That's another bright spot up front. And, of course, just right now you've got GT Barnett back in the lineup, Carter Rigby, a physical element as well. And so, again, these key faces that we haven't seen for the last couple of months making a huge contribution to this team against a very good Kamloops Blazer Hockey Club.
Regan, many thanks again. Thanks for stopping by.
Okay, take care.
There's Regan Bartel, play-by-play voice of the Kelowna Rockets. The Rockets down 1-1 here on the WHL on Shaw. We'll take a quick timeout and come back with more in the first intermission. WHL Playoffs brought to you by Husky and Cal Tire. Kamloops Blazers trying to advance to the conference championship for the first time since 1999 with a 1-0 lead through one period of play back at WHL Central, brought to you by Sierra Sil with Peter Labardius. And Peter, after that first period, what struck you in that opening frame?
A few things. Quickly, as far as Kamloops is concerned, their coaching staff was not at all pleased with how their team performed in Game 3. I knew they would be much better. They were, and they finally chipped in on the Cale Kessie power play goal. My biggest concern was the Kelowna coaching staff. How do you sell your team again after you play a terrific game last night and you do not come away with anything? Give Jordan Cook all kinds of credit. He really has answered the bell in the first period. He's the reason his team is still alive. But as these playoffs have gone on, Andy, I think you have to make this point. Why do you take penalties? You know why? Because you're tired. You've played too much. This is a Kelowna defense that is counting on nothing but 17, 16, and 18-year-olds. We haven't made enough mention of the fact Mackenzie Johnson, their lone 19-year-old on defense, was hurt before the start of the playoffs. You are asking a lot of Severson. Is the oldest guy in the group, and he is only 18. You've got Bowie and Wheaton, who, how courageous has he been at 17, and then Stadel, who's only 16.
Yeah. We got about 30 seconds left, but what do you expect to see in the second period right off the bat?
I think Kelowna will be better 5-on-5. I think this will become a game where they will have a couple of 5 to 6 minute spurts where they play really well. How they do in those time frames will likely dictate if this series lives to see Friday night.
All right, we'll talk to you again in the second intermission. Peter Labardius, let's take a look inside the Sierra Sil out-of-town scoreboard. 2 other games and 2 other teams facing elimination. One of those has the lead on home ice tonight. The Tigers on goals by Hunter Shinkarik and Boston Lear with a 2-1 lead on the Edmonton Oil Kings down 0-3.
You knew they'd be much better tonight after what happened in Game 3.
And the Portland Winterhawks, Chase Delio and Taylor Peters have the goal, and they're up on the Spokane Chiefs 2-0. They're playing in the second period in Spokane, and Portland trying to wrap up that series in 4 straight. And for all information on the Western Hockey League, just go to its website, www.whl.ca. You get news, highlights, links to all 22 teams, and RE/MAX is proud to support the Western Hockey League and excited to offer fans a chance to win $25,000 in home entertainment prizes. To enter, visit WHL.ca and click on the RE/MAX Home Team Contest button. RE/MAX, official realtors of the WHL. Time to go upstairs where Dan Russell and Bill Williams are standing by. Guys?
Thank you very much, Andy. And first, an apology for some of our video difficulties in the first period, but I'm told that's all been resolved. So thank you for staying with us for the WHL Playoffs on Shaw. And as far as resolving anything, Kelowna has to resolve to stay at even strength at least.
Yeah, exactly. They're fortunate that Kamloops only got the 1 power play goal. We'll show you the goal right off the top here. It's a little bit like teasing a cat with a piece of string. We're going to have a little bit of fun with this. Watch this power play goal behind the net. Left, back to the right, back over to the left. The penalty kills all over the place, and then finally to get it to the back of the net. Now that penalty kill's been looking one side, the other side, and all of a sudden Kessie's all by himself in front of the net. You know, that's the only goal scored in the period. 1-0 for the Kamloops Blazers. Now, get this, folks. Jordan Cook had to come back. Huska upset with the fact his team's taking that many penalties. Jordan Cook faced 19 Kamloops shots. He made 18 saves, and it was important for him to have a bounce-back game. For my money right now, he's definitely one of the best players on the ice for this Kelowna Rocket team. Can't get pucks out? You know that power play is still going to be alive. You're going to get shots on goal. Well, Guy Charon's got to be thinking, oh my goodness, what do we have to do? Is that all we're going to get is 1 power play? Give me a break, guys. You got to bury the puck. We're going to period 2.
And when the Kamloops Blazers score first in these playoffs, they have a 4-0 record. Kessie from LaFon and Ranford at 15:04 of the first period. It's game number 4 tonight from Kamloops. So far, the goals in the series belong to the Blazers, 15-7. The total goals scored in the playoffs. And Ranford didn't score the first goal for the first time, but he was in on it, as he has now been in on the first goal in all 4 games. As you see, Jordan Cook and the Kelowna Rockets step back on the ice here in Kamloops, ready for period number 2.
Now, it's got to be a very, very different Kelowna Rocket team, Dan, in my opinion. That penalty stuff, that's got to end. I mean, you just can't have your top guy. As Peter referenced, the only 18-year-old on defense is Damon Severson, and he's your veteran guy, and you're sitting him in the box? That just can't be. In fact, I'm really impressed, or surprised, I guess is the way to put it, that the Blazers only have a 1-goal lead. But it's all starting now, as far as I'm concerned, for the Kelowna Rockets.
Indeed. I think the first few minutes of this period will tell you if they have any more fight left to come back and get into this series, or at least grab a game and send it back. If the next game is needed, it would be Friday night in Kelowna. If the teams leading in the West hold on tonight, it'll be a Kamloops-Portland Western Conference final. Second period now underway. Teams are at full strength as it is tipped in by Rigby. All the way deep into the Kamloops zone. Chance at the side of the net. Another chance at the side. Another chance over top the goal. And that was Rigby who put it up wide and high. And that's a good opportunity for Kelowna on their first shift. It's shot in, and Edmondson gets possession of the puck. Here goes to Connolly. Connolly, out it goes to the center ice area where it's Cornelison putting it in. Wheaton has it as Kamloops makes a change. Wheaton's pass onto the tape, and here comes an offside as Lineker made one move too many.
Yeah, good start. Way the puck comes, the way this team comes out to start this period, really important to get that puck deep. And honestly, too, I think from the Rockets standpoint, a guy like Carter Rigby, you want to get pucks on his stick. Here's the forecheck, kind of a mishandle there, and number 11. Where is 11? He's going to get that puck there. Carter Rigby, a good goal scorer, solid hockey player, shoots that puck. Maybe deflected a bit as it went over the net.
Hansen flips the puck. Bailey knocks it down. Bailey back in this series after a 2-game suspension. Colin Smith did not return to the lineup tonight. Imagine if the series might have been closer. Perhaps he does get in tonight, but 3-0 up. Why would you rush him? Not that you would anyway, but certainly with a 3-0 lead. Ranford comes out of his own zone. There's Yulee taking the pass. Yulee takes a shot. That's turned aside by Cook. Ranford swats at the puck, puts it back into this corner. Yulee trying to grab it over here, puts it behind the net, hit the referee, came out in front of the net. And the Rockets able to guide it out of harm's way, led by Bell. He flips it in. Bailey goes in after it. Ranford knocks it off the board, but it's taken off his stick. Rockets try to go in, but they can't. Here comes Friesen for Kamloops, and he'll just send it in deep and head to the bench on a line change. Cautious start here. Bowie brings it up through the center ice area. Olsen swats at the puck. That goes wide. Soto tries to put it in front of his own net, or a pass, and Kessie gets it. Kessie to Cornelison. There's Needham, and Kessie tries to poke it through, cannot. Needham will try once more as Needham brings it in over the blue line. He one-hands it to Kessie and puts it in front of the net for Soto, just behind him, and 4 Rockets start back the other way. Brought in over the line by Barnett, but it's poked off his stick, and now Kessie tries to get loose. Here he goes. Cale Kessie shot, and a quick save there by Cook as Kessie took the shot maybe a little further out than what people might have thought. Not the worst idea, maybe a surprise shot. Soto out to Edmondson. Here's a shot that's tipped a couple of times, and it goes to the corner. Needham puts it behind the net. Edmondson waiting for it. A little bit of a pinch there as he backhands it down low. Rockets get it. Edmondson picks off the pass with his glove. He tries to feed Kessie. Kessie tied up. Willick going in there as well. Kessie and Wheaton battle for it. Here's Cross at the blue line. Cross puts it well wide. Willick, he wins that battle. Some zone time here for Kamloops. Kelowna having a great deal of difficulty getting this puck right now. They'll continue to battle for it. It's just not going to come out of there, is it? Soon, no whistle.
There's 30 seconds of a life we'll never get back, like you always say.
Willick coming off the corner boards. Willick on his backhand. Holding the puck. Tried to work it in front, could not. Centering pass, that's tucked to the corner. How much zone time has Kamloops had here? In fact, they're making changes. That's how long it's been down there. And there's a Kamloops player upended, and even the fans here say, you know what, we've had 5 power plays, we're not even going to boo that they didn't call that one. I love a smart hockey fan. Yulee.
Figure that one out.
Can't get greedy. Up 3 games and 5 power plays. Stayed out of his own zone. Heffley in over the blue line. Heffley shot. That rolls towards the Kamloops goalie, Cheveldae, and he holds on. Stu Walters.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Talked to Guy Chiron prior to the game tonight, and he says despite last night's win, he thought his team really needed to be better, especially in the first period, the early going. He thought Cole Cheveldae, the goalie, really bailed them out. So he says the standard and the consistency wasn't there, wasn't what they're used to. He said the best minutes actually came in overtime, where they managed to pull out the victory, and it obviously has been better. Obviously, the power plays help in the first period, but even their puck pursuit right now has been much better tonight.
Guy Chiron behind the bench now with a record of 14-10. Playoff win-loss record since being with the Kamloops Blazers. Yulee brings the puck in over the blue line. Yulee rolls it down behind the net. Ranford tries to throw it in front. He does. The shot just goes wide. There'll be another penalty here. There's a chance at the side of the net. Well, it is going to be a 6 power play, and it's going to be an interference. And the Kelowna Rockets just keep going to the penalty box.
Yeah, they're playing so much of this game in their own zone. They're a team that's emotionally drained, no question about that. They trailed the series 3-0. They had that tough series against Seattle. They're playing so much of it in their own zone. You're just going to take these kind of penalties. You are going to take lazy penalties. You're going to take penalties where you're not mentally sharp. And they've gotten away with a couple, like you just said, but you couldn't neglect that one.
All right, so let's see what the 6th power play of the night does for Kamloops. 1 for 5 with the man advantage. Martin, now to Severson, hard around the boards, out to the blue line. Purvis puts it behind the net. Too high for Needham to handle. Chopped at. And intercepted now by Soto. Soto dishes it off, and here's Grist at the blue line, taking a shot that's tipped off the target. Soto was in front of the net. Grist once more. Now Soto. Behind the goal to Willick. Over top his stick. Needham tries to get it at the side. Foul he does. Off the boards and down the ice it goes. Cheveldae will leave it at the side of his net. And here comes Ranford out of his own zone. J.C. Lepond drops it back for Ranford. Ranford with room as he goes to the net, and he just missed the far corner. Ranford just saw that far side and just missed. 49 seconds to go in the power play as Lepond brings it in. Lepond to Edmondson, and there's a save by Cook as he comes over to make it.
Well, you know, Dan, you take a look at the Kamloops' depth and scoring. We saw it at the start of the season, and now we're seeing it again in the postseason. Going into tonight's game, Kessie, 9 goals. He got his 10th tonight. Lepond, Ranford, Willick, 5 goals. Even Chase Soto with 3. How about Kelowna Rockets? They got 5 players with 2 points. That's it. Barnett with 2 goals leads his hockey clubs, and he just joined them last night. And it's all just being on defense right now.
Top 5 point getters in the series, all with the Blazers. Down the ice this will go as Nyberg sends it the length of the ice. Well, you got to give credit to the Kelowna penalty kill. They're getting a lot of practice. It's not the time of year you want a lot of practice on your penalty kill. Here's Lepond going in over the blue line. A hard pass in front for Edmondson. Here's Kessie now. And Lepond back in front it goes. Puck cleared by Kelowna. Down the ice, and it'll bounce all the way down to Cheveldae. Well, certainly the Rockets need something good to happen for them. Here's Kessie moving in, a pass. Misses Cornelison. Penalty coming to an end. Kessie off the backboards, putting it back behind the net. Lepond has it. Lepond out here to Edmondson, winding up for a shot that's blocked by Goulburn. And now Olsen backhands it up here to the blue line area, but not out. Cornelison moves in for a shot that goes wide of the net. Now Friesen. Cornelison. Friesen working off the cycle. Rockets off the boards and out to the neutral zone. If the Rockets don't get something good that happens soon, you have a feeling in this game that a 2-0 goal could lead to a lot more.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. 24-6 shots on goal this period. Wow. And not a thing good has happened for the Kelowna Rockets. Not one thing to this point.
In the game.
In the game.
I don't think they have a scoring chance. Maybe Franco can get one here. Nope, that's tipped out of play by Hansen.
We talked about the Kamloops Blazer offense. Well, how does it stack up with the rest of the teams in the WHL Playoffs? You get a look at Tyson Bailey there. LaPont has got a point in every game he's played this year. Look at Ranford. Right at the top of the list, you see Cale Kessie, 10 goals, tied with Ty Ratty. Who ever saw that coming? Well, we're back to even strength. Face-off in the Kamloops zone. What's going to happen?
Well, I think the next power play will go to... I'll go on the limb here. I'm going to say the Rockets will get the next power play.
Well, I'd be anxious to see what a one goal would do for them here, too.
Or how they'll get it if their feet aren't moving enough. I don't know. We'll see. Needham goes in there. Bowie's long tap. Remember, it's a 6 game in 9 nights for the Rockets as Merkley cuts in. Here's Rigby going in, and there's a penalty. Didn't take long, did it? Rigby hooked with as he goes to the net, and Kelowna gets their first power play.
Yeah, hard for me to believe that Nick Merkley was playing midget hockey in Calgary for the Calgary Buffaloes. You can see him on the offense as he takes that puck into the offensive zone, and the penalty being drawn there. But then I watched him just prior to that rush. He was the first man coming back on the back check. And again, fresh. He hasn't been out killing penalty.
First power play of the night. Kelowna in the series 1 for 10. They sure could have used one last night in that close game, but here they are on this one, and it is a close game. It doesn't feel like it is, but it's only 1-0. We mentioned that Kelowna needs something good to happen. I guess we really mean they need a goal. Not only to tie it, but to stem the momentum. LaPont. And down it goes as Grist got it the length of the ice. Severson and Bell are the point men. Franco up front with Bailey and Barnett. There's Barnett taking the puck as he brings it in over the blue line. Back it goes. Bell to Severson. Severson to Bell. Bell, hard pass, goes to Franco. Franco back to Severson. Shot knocked down by Bailey in front. As Bailey got in the way of Severson shot. Here's a chance at the side of the net, and Franco can't get his stick on the rebound. Severson puts it behind the goal. Hansen dishes it over to Edmondson. A little bit of trouble in his skate, so he couldn't get it out. And here's Severson moving it quickly, but Bailey couldn't handle the pass, and down the ice it goes.
Boy, that body language is so important that you don't give this Kamloops Blazer team any life if you're the Kelowna Rockets by going off the ice, hanging your head.
Puck shot in. Olsen gets the rebound and off the corner boards and plays it out here to Madison Bowie. Here's Olsen taking a shot that's tipped up high and out of play.
You know, you take a look at J.C. LaPont and the kind of hockey player he is, and we've talked, you know, to people whether as a 19-year-old he will get picked somewhere in the draft, and I don't know about his identity. Are you a checker that can score, or are you a scorer who can check? I mean, that is a scout's dilemma often. Both will take you to the next level. I got to believe J.C. LaPont fits one of those for sure.
Bowie shot from the line hits Grist. Purvis slides it over to the other side. Didn't get much on it. Grist will try this side. Ranford reaching for it. Couldn't get the outlet pass, so Bowie holds the puck in. Over to Stadel. 20 seconds to go in the power play. Bowie now to Olsen, moving in. Pass in front, and Nyberg just missed it at the side of the goal, and it goes down the ice as Kamloops sends Kelowna back.
Boy, no puck retrieval, is there, by the Rockets. They just don't get in the forecheck after they get the initial thrust, the initial chance on goal.
Penalty over. We're exactly halfway through this hockey game. Now 9:58 to go. And the score is Kamloops 1, Kelowna 0. Kamloops leads the series 3-0. You're watching the WHL on Shaw.
With Blazers head coach Guy Charon, and Guy, even though you won last night, you told me you wanted a better standard and consistency. Have you been satisfied early on here?
Yeah, very much so. I thought we had a good start. We worked a lot harder. We we did a lot of things that we need to do to be successful.
Dominating territorially and on the shot clock. Are you concerned you're only up by 1, or is that playoff hockey?
You know what? That's playoff hockey. You can dominate part of the game, and it could be a tight game. I'm sure it's going to be decided till the very end.
Thanks, Keith.
Yeah.
Guys?
I don't know, Stu. I don't know if he was completely honest with you on that one. You've outshot a team 25-7. You've had all those power play opportunities, and you're only leading 1-0. I mean, Guy Chiron, he by the way, said his team was really motivated by those back-to-back losses late in the season to the same Kelowna Rocket team. But he'd expect his team probably have a few more. What do you think, Dan?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have that many power plays, that many shots. What you're doing is playing a little bit of playoff roulette here. You have a team very much on the ropes, and you just can't get that goal. Now, credit Jordan Cook. He has faced some shots here. Not really brilliant saves, just good positional saves.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
one shot from tying, and a new game. Let's see if the Rockets can get that shot here. Bowie from the line, he fans on it. And Mitch Lapon will try to go back the other way. Went down as Bowie maybe got away with an interference penalty. Suddenly the fans are booing again. They thought that one would have been a penalty any other time of the year, and I probably would have to agree with them. Cornelson. Now Willick. Bowie back at the net. Willick back at the goal. Bowie working over his man pretty aggressively, but Willick still has the puck. Markley trying to get it. Willick does a good job to come off the corner boards. There's Edmondson. And now bodies fly again at the side of the net. Rockets look like they'll be able to come out with some numbers here. Rigby with Merkley in over the line. Merkley gets it to Barnett. His backhand shot knocked off the target, but Cheveldae puts his glove on top of it, and he holds on to stop the play. WHL on Shaw, proud to recognize Jack Lynx as an official partner of the WHL. Jack Lynx, feed your wild side.
yeah, back real quick again at Guy Chiron. I know he has a tremendous amount of respect for this Rocket team, and that's one thing I think you could say for both teams. They have a ton of respect for each other, and I haven't seen anything spill over in any other way.
Right off the face-off there, Cheveldae makes a save.
You gotta feel that the Rockets are still in this thing. Some inexplicable reason here. Boy, a goal against the flow would be huge.
They almost did it again. Twice. Off the face-off, Olsen got clear shots on goal. Here goes Ranford the other way. Ranford throwing it in front, comes back to J.C. Lapon, and it's intercepted. McKinley gets it to Olsen. Here comes Olsen, poked off his stick by Chris. Centering pass, and just went wide as it hit Nyberg and went wide of the goal. Hansen without a stick, and you can see the result there. Nyberg and Hansen. Chris trying to get position. He can't. Bailey out to the blue line. Here's a long shot. Well, he's fanned on, or it was on purpose, but Severson doesn't hold the puck in, and they have to go back into his own zone for it. 8 minutes to go in the second period. Kessie's goal at the 15-minute mark of the first period, the only one on the scoreboard tonight. There's a centering pass by Bailey, and this time last time we had about 8 goals on the scoreboard. There's Bailey from back of the goal, throws it in front. Martin, now Stadel. Stadel, now to Franco. Franco trying to feather it back here to Martin. Martin puts it behind the net. What do you know? We got some zone time by Kelowna. Can they make something happen here? Stadel on the pinch. Back it goes to Bell. Winding up, shoots! And that rising shot goes over top the net. Bell hustles, but he can't hold it in. That might be the best shift the Kelowna Rockets have had. It may not be over here. Here's a chance for Franco. Franco trying to shovel it in front. Bailey scores! Tyson Bailey, as the work does pay off, and the Rockets have tied it 1-1.
He's missed 2 games, Bailey has. He still leads this team in goals with 7, in points with 12, plus minus with 5, power play goals with 4. Tyson Bailey's going to be the beneficiary of a puck in the high slot. There isn't a guy within 10 feet of him, and boy, Bailey just backs away a little bit and knows when you're in that spot, he's hoping, just have that puck end up on my stick. It does, and he wires it, ties this game at 1.
Kessie just handed him the puck in the slot. Kessie, who has a goal for Kamloops, gets an assist that he doesn't want on the Bailey goal. Should be unassisted, but it's not. They're giving Franco an assist, but if you look at it clearly, I think you'll see Kessie has clear possession, and he just hands it right to Bailey, who hammers it in. So you tell me if Franco should get an assist on this or not. Maybe he does.
Well, we'll take another look at it. Again, it's, to me, a lot of deliberate play by the Rockets. It's not a lot of spontaneous passing. You know, that puck certainly ends up on that sweet spot as far as Tyson Bailey is concerned. Boy, for the 2014 NHL Draft, not this one next year, remember the names that are going to be called day one. Sam Reinhart, Jake Virtanen from Calgary, and Tyson Bailey from this Kelowna Rocket team.
So it's a 1-1 tie, and the shots read 26-12 in favor of Kamloops as it's shot into Blazer territory. Cheveldae plays it around the board. Severson, long shot. Cheveldae makes the save, and he holds on for the rebound.
Yeah, there's from that real far side of the wall, Severson manages to get this puck through, and you know, a nice job by Cheveldae to find it, get it, corral it, make sure there's no rebound. This is a bump-up shift after the goal. Pretty important. You see Cheveldae, he's a good puck handler. Some people have said if you didn't have the trapezoid back there, he'd be spending a lot of time in the corner of the rink handling pucks.
Face off one by Kamloops, but Herb is tied up at the side of the net. Ranford goes in to collect the puck. Ranford just lugging it out of his own zone. Lepon now going wide off the side of the net. Lepon chasing it down in the far corner. J.C. Lepon has it checked off his stick. And the Rockets get it out to center. Yulee brings it back in over the blue line. Yulee going in. One hands it behind the goal. Martin switches it over to this side. McKinley, very quiet in this series, number 19. That's him with the puck right now. But that's a good pass by McKinley. Up to Nyberg. Nyberg. Ian Edmondson battling for possession. Ranford gets it out to the center ice area. No offside there as he gained the zone. Hervis in the corner. All by himself as Kamloops is making a change. Has a different feel to it than last night's game, which was also tied in the second period. Here goes Bell. Puts on the brakes. Bell, cross ice it goes to Wheaton and off his skates. But a much better last few minutes for the Kelowna Rockets. Starting to get a little bit of zone time down here. Here's a chance for Bell. His shot is blocked, and that hurts Soto. He stepped in front of it, and he's shaken up a little bit. Bailey from back to the net tries to work it in front. Bailey and Hansen battling for it from the line. Wheaton gets it to Franco. A little bit of room. Franco back of the net to Bailey. In front of the goal. Bell shoots, and that's blocked by Needham. Soto's still out there. Gets the puck down the ice. And good play by Soto. Not far enough for icing. A good thing you would have had to stay out. There's the Oil Kings advancing past Medicine Hat tonight. They win that game 4-2, so congratulations to the defending champs. They are on to round 3 in the WHL Playoffs, and they sweep the Medicine Hat team 4-0. After the Hat swept Saskatoon in round 1.
Tigers did open the scoring tonight in Medicine Hat.
Fowley trying to come off the boards. Willick lugs it out to center. There's Connolly going in. He throws it towards the front of the net. Nothing but red-shirted Rockets. I think if Stu Walters could do the Guy Charon interview now, he might not have the same answers.
Yeah.
Just because the Kelowna Rockets have been coming on just slowly but surely, but now they are the better team here in the second period. And here's McKinley shooting it, and Cheveldae makes the save, and he holds on.
Yeah, Dylan McKinley coming off that left wing. He's a 20-year-old from Langley. You go back to his playoff experience. He played 11 playoff games with the then Chilliwack Bruins. He had 4 playoff games with Kootenay. And you know, the pace that McKinley can play this game at. He had 6 shorthanded goals this year in the Western Hockey League. The next closest on the Rockets was 2, but I agree, McKinley's been quiet this series.
1 point for McKinley in the first 3 games. From the line, a shot sails wide of the goal. Yulee tips it out to the neutral zone, but Olsen hustles back to get it for Kelowna. Hard pass over here. McKinley, too hard to handle. Ranford the other way. Yulee puts the puck in deep. 3:15 to go in the second. Kessie and Bailey, the goal scorers. Olsen going in deep. J.C. Lapon starts back the other way. Has Ranford and Yulee with him. Lapon to Ranford. In front of the net! Score! Herbis jumps in to put it by Cook. And the Kamloops Blazers regain their lead.
This is one of the first times the Blazers come up the ice as a 4-man unit. Never mind a 3-man unit. Ranford gets that puck going hard in the front, and then in fact you got the entire 5 Blazers in there. They know the urgency of this rush, that something good has to happen off it. Love the way Ranford takes it off his skate onto his stick. There's Lapon as a trailer. And joining that rush on the far left side is defenseman Marek Herbis. He recognized the opportunity to go. He's had the green light, and it's Marek Herbis to make it in a 2-1 Kamloops lead.
His second of the playoffs, and yes, Ranford in again on it. How many goals can he be in on? Well, 8 of them so far in the series. That's 8 out of 16. Ranford's been on exactly half the goals. 17:05, the time of the scoring play. And at the side of the net, there's a turnover. Hansen, long shot, and a big rebound. That's poked aside, and Barnett trying to jump on it over on the far side. Willick there first, though. And here comes Stadel. Stadel for Kelowna. Backhands it in, and he's going to go give chase himself. The 2 number 3s will battle for the puck. Hansen tripped up by Stadel. There'll be an offensive zone penalty on Kelowna. The Rockets, who just gave up the lead, are going to take a penalty bill 200 feet from their net.
Yeah, they just have not had the rhythm of this game for the Kelowna Rockets is really, for me, out of sorts. They get a tying goal. They give up a 2-1 goal here late in the period, and then they get this offensive zone penalty again. I mean, it just doesn't seem right now that the team in red, the Rockets, are on the same page. Well, first things first now, 2:04 left in the period. Significant penalty kill again for the Rockets.
7th time tonight, Kamloops has had a power play. 1 for 6 with the man advantage. Ranford to Lapon. In front of the net, comes back out here to Edmondson, shoots! And where did it go? It hit a body and went wide. Olsen gets it and clears it out and down the ice. Olsen and Fowley, the penalty-killing forwards. Martin and Severson at the back. The power play going back to work here with Ranford leading the way. Willick tips it in, and here is Edmondson moving in, and he just missed the net. Or he missed it maybe by more than I thought because he came in from the different side, but Edmondson had a real good opportunity all alone, and he missed the goal. Ranford now brought in by Yulee. Yulee back for Ranford. Ranford to Lapon. And that's intercepted. Lapon gets it back again, and out to the neutral zone it goes. Ranford almost stripped of the puck. Goulburn finally gets it. And with a minute to go, basically in both the period and the penalty, here come the Blazers once more. Herbis in over the blue line. Herbis for Kessie. He missed it. Heffley tries to get it out. Kessie got it. Tries to backhand it out to the line. Soto got it, and throws it in front, and it's goaltender Cook who puts his glove over top of it.
Well, you saw Marek Herbis with the go-ahead goal to make it 2-1, join a rush off that left side, although it was a rush that started way back in the Kamloops zone. Well, Edmondson says, you know what, power play this time, get that puck to Willick, and Edmondson breaks in off that left wing. I look at 4 Rockets there, and Kelowna Rockets, I can't figure out how Joel Edmondson gets that far behind them. Sure, he didn't convert on the chance, but boy, he had a lot of time and space to make that play.
Each team has 10 shots on goal here in the second period. In the game, it's 29-14 for the home team. 2-1 with 45 seconds to go in the period. Soto to take the face-off against Olsen. Olsen won the draw, but it goes to the corner, and he'll battle for it there. As it scores free, Kelowna's got a lot of room there, but Wheaton's on his backhand, so he switches it to his forehand. Grisk holds it in. Yulee down low, chance, score! Needham! He got behind everybody, then he put it upstairs for a power play goal. 3-1 Kamloops, 27 seconds left in the second.
You know, it all happens, as you called it there. This is Wheaton going back there. He can't clear it on his backhand, so he tries to rim around to that spot. It's kept in beautifully. It's worked from that spot. Once they get clear possession of it, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 Rockets move up into the high slot area, and look at Needham all by himself. And folks, that is a pretty big league type goal to go backhand, forehand underneath the crossbar.
That's his first of the playoffs of this year. He's got 4 now in his career. Talk about a killer, though. Last minute goal on the power play.
The assistant number 21, Cole
Well,
Yulee.
you just can't keep taking
And the
penalties.
number 12,
that one's
Chase
200
Soto.
feet from your net. So that's not a good penalty. And Ryan Huska's team may have run out of miracles here. Down 3 in the series, down 2 in the elimination game of Game 4 as they get set to go to the intermission. And Kamloops, when they lead after 2 periods of play, are 4-0 during the 2013 playoffs. Kelowna did tie the game there, and they had a couple of minutes, probably about 5 or 8 minutes, where they played pretty well. But then Kamloops has taken the game back from them with 2 late second period goals. And the Blazers, who have not been to the Western Conference Finals since 1999, are 1 period away from advancing to round 3. Andy Neal, over to you.
Thanks very much, Dan. Kamloops defenseman Tyler Hansen will join Stu Walters on the other side of the break inside the WHL with Peter Lavardius, and a feature on Kelowna Rockets defenseman Madison Bowie. That, along with highlights and analysis of a second period of play that saw Kelowna draw even, but 2 more from Kamloops, makes it a 3-1 Blazers lead after 40 minutes on the WHL on Shaw.
And welcome back to Kamloops, where after 40 minutes of play, the Blazers are in front of the Kelowna Rockets 3-1 in Game 4 of this Western Conference semifinal series. Happy to be joined now by Blazers defenseman Tyler Hansen. And Tyler, how important was it to get the 2 late goals there in that second period, especially when Kelowna seemed to be taking over some of the momentum?
Yeah, it was huge for us. Obviously, we had a good start, but they're a desperate team. They really came on strong after the 10-minute mark in the second period. They had a lot of pressure, but after they got that goal, I thought we responded well, and that big goal by Herbestet really brought the momentum back to our side.
What was the message from Guy Charon prior to tonight's game? Even though you got the win last night, I think you wanted more of a sustained work ethic. Have you been happy with your play through 40 minutes?
Yeah, I think so. I think the biggest thing has been moving our feet well tonight. I thought last night we kind of sat around a little bit too much, and they took the play to us. But tonight we've been dictating the play and really taking it to them and drawing penalties, which has been huge for us tonight.
I want to ask you how proud you are of being one of the best defensive defensemen in the WHL and how much you value that role.
Yeah, obviously every kid comes in here and wants to be a goal scorer, but over the years I kind of realized that, I'm a big guy, I'm a defensive guy, and I've kind of learned to really appreciate that role and take it in. I love blocking shots and being defensive, and I know coming here last 20 minutes, that's what's going to win us that game is those defensive plays.
All right, Tyler, we look forward to seeing that. Thanks for this.
Thank you very much.
Let's head up to WHL Central. Andy Neal, Peter Labardius.
All right, thanks very much, Stu. WHL Central brought to you by Sierra Sill and Peter. We just heard from Tyler Hansen, +7 through the first 3 games of this series.
That's where I was going right off the bat. We talk about the big stars, the Ranfords, and he's been great. And for me, you know how much I like to chat about people's coming out parties at this time of year. I'm not sure I'd put Mr. Hansen in that class, but he's an unsung hero of this team. You mentioned the +7. In talking with associate coach Dave Hunchak the last couple of days, he said he could not even attempt to count the amount of shots that young man has blocked in the last couple of years. He's a high character kid, comes from a religious background. He's got great morals, comes from a dynamite family. You could even get that feeling when you watch Stu Walters interview him. And I think he's really, really had himself a dynamite series in a situation where you're not going to talk a lot about Tyler Hansen, but I'm glad we had a chance to do it.
Tyson Bailey back in the lineup, makes an impact with the tying goal, but then 2 for Kamloops late in that second period. You mentioned at the end of that second period, if Kelowna can just get through this without giving up the power play goal. But Matt Needham, who's been doing a lot of the setting up so far in the playoffs, gets his first in the postseason.
Well, I started to sound like a broken record at the end of the day when you mentioned Matt Needham. And remember this, Andy, he's only 17 years of age as far as hockey terms are concerned. One thing about hockey players that you can't take away and that you love, hockey IQ. He comes from pretty good stock. His dad was a heck of a junior right in this particular town. You knew he grew up around the game, understands the game exceptionally well. You know, he was in the 30-plus point category, maybe not quite what I would have thought, but in more of a third-line role. At the end of the day, when you're without Tim Bozon and Colin Smith for the majority of this series, this guy has been one of the reasons that his team is now 20 minutes away from moving on to round 3 for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, 1999 was the last time, and they went through Kelowna that year to get to the 99 final that season against the Calgary Hitmen. You know, we've often wondered about how much gas is left in the tank for the Kelowna Rockets, but you know with the pride in that room that third period coming up is going to be a big one for them, and expect to see a push no matter how tired they are.
Well, I was so concerned about the hockey club coming in, and we touched on it in the period. I just don't know how there can be anything left, especially on defense. But at the end of the day, one thing that's really going to be disappointing for the Kelowna Rockets, if they can't find a way, and if any team has shown it this spring that they could, it could be them. And I expect them to have another 5-7 minute stretch where they're really, really good, and what they do there will probably go a long way. Who in your mind, I'm going to ask you this question, I'm going to play reverse. Who do you think's been their most consistent forward?
Nick Merkley's been pretty good as an underage player.
To a certain extent, isn't that maybe what some of the problem is and why they're down 3-0? I do not like to be negative about players at this age, but at the end of the day, they just haven't received enough offense from some of their 20 and 19-year-old players in this series.
Well, let's look at other playoff series going on. The Edmonton Oil Kings have finished off the Medicine Hat Tigers. Henrik Samuelsson scored twice tonight and part of a dynamic group of forwards that the Oil Kings possess as they try to go for a second straight title.
Well, I researched it. I didn't have to research it. You know it. The Rucks, the Fosters, the St. Claus, the Samuelsons, the Lazars. Stefan Legault's having an unbelievable year. Travis Iwanek, Mitch Moroz. Go down the list. That top group of 9 forwards, you could put that group up against anybody. And when you talk about this team's forwards, they can hurt you in each and every single way. They can be physical. They have those elements in the likes of Lazar plays physical. Samuelsson, I'm not surprised. I think he's going to, if they win again, you can look at Henrik Samuelsson. I bet you he scores a lot more key goals down the stretch. Curtis Lazar, I wouldn't say it's been a disappointment. Point-wise, he hasn't been there quite yet, but as the next round and potentially the next round goes around, I look for the product of Vernon, British Columbia to have a huge impact.
And the Oil Kings now will be awaiting the winner of the Calgary Hitmen and the Red Deer Rebels. They will be playing Game 5 of their series coming up tomorrow night. Thanks again, Peter, for doing this. We'll talk to you again perhaps at the end of the game, maybe overtime if Kelowna can get back into this one.
Who knows?
Yep.
Who knows?
Back with a feature on Madison Bowie, defenseman for the Kelowna Rockets. When we return, there's a look inside the Blazer dressing room, 20 minutes away from a 4-game sweep of the Rockets. Well, Tyson Bailey tied it for Kelowna in the second period, but Merrick Herbis and Matt Needham restoring the lead for the Kamloops Blazers, up 3-1 on Kelowna through 2 periods here in Game 4 of this Cal Tire Western Conference semifinal series back at WHL Central, brought to you by Sierra Sil. And time for the My Husky Rewards profile. And second-year defenseman Madison Bowie, a lot of expectations for him coming into the season. He was part of Team Canada's gold medal effort at the Ivan Lincoln tournament over in the Czech Republic in the summer. And this year he improved his offensive numbers, but a big number that jumps out is his plus 41 in the defensive zone. Put him in the top 15 in that regard. And certainly NHL scouts are taking a long look at Madison Bowie getting set for the 2013 NHL Draft. In a franchise that continually churns out NHL talent on defense, the Kelowna Rockets have another budding blue line star in Madison Bowie. Early this past season, the product of Winnipeg, Manitoba, skated alongside former WHL stars who have made a name for themselves in the NHL.
At the beginning of the year, Luke Shen skated with us and guys like that who really kind of helped me out and said that it's just a draft, just another year, just kind of focus on your own game. And I really did that, and I really have been doing that lately, and it's been working out really well for myself.
Madison was able to spend time with Brent Seabrook and Luke Shen, and those guys had all the time in the world for our players, and there's no better way to get a better understanding of what it takes to play at the next level than get into practice with those guys every day.
Just seeing how hard NHL guys really work at what they do, and to make it to the next level, you have to kind of be working out hard every day, even if there's no NHL going on. You have to work as hard as you do as that league is going on. So I mean, just kind of every day you have to be on and working hard to make it to the next level.
A tremendous skater, Bowie's play in his own zone this season nicely complemented his strength as an offensive defenseman, and tries to pattern his game in the mold of former Rocket Shea Weber.
I know that in order to make it to the next level, I have to really elevate my defensive game and be a solid two-way defenseman. So I mean, Shea Weber does that tremendously, and I know every game I have a chance to watch him play and kind of model my game after him.
A lot of times when offensive guys come into our league, they have the good instincts and the good skills, but they do have to learn how to play defense. And I think this year Madison's been, he's paid a lot more attention to his play in his own zone, trying to improve that part of his game. And I think that's probably the biggest improvement that we've seen so far in his game.
When the pressure is on, so too is Bowie. A multi-sport athlete, Bowie is a player who welcomes the challenge of big game moments.
Being there and being kind of in my own little zone and kind of really kind of having the whole game on your line, it really kind of, I think, helps me in every kind of sport I played, and especially hockey. And I mean, I know the coaches can always trust me in the key situations, and I think that really transferred over to hockey.
I think it is important. I think you want your players to kind of thrive on that pressure, because there's some guys that you'll see will kind of shrink when the pressure does come on. And it's nice to hear that you do have players that want to be on the ice in those situations. And I think the more Madison continues to develop and the more, I guess, comfortable and confident he becomes in his ability as he gets older here, he will be one of those guys that he's kind of going to demand the ice time, and he'll want to be the difference in games, and that's a great thing to have from one of your younger players.
The spotlight will be on Bowie in June when he heads to the NHL draft in New Jersey to fulfill his lifelong dream.
Bowie!
Growing up, watching the draft and seeing all those players' names get called up there and walk up on the stage, it'd be a tremendous accomplishment for me and also my family, because they've always been supporting me there and along the way.
Well, the Sierras Hill out-of-town scoreboard, the Edmonton Oil Kings into the Final Four for the second consecutive year. They sweep the Medicine Hat Tigers, 2 from Henrik Samuelsson. He scored the winner tonight in a 4-2 win for the Oil Kings. Portland Winterhawks have their 11th goal from Ty Ratty in the playoffs, and they have a 3-0 lead on Spokane, trying to wrap up that Cal Tire Western Conference semifinal series in 4 games straight as well. The Denny's player spotlight tonight is Merrick Herbis of the Kamloops Blazers, and right on cue, he's got his second goal of the postseason tonight, jumping into the play to make it a 2-1 game this evening in the second frame. That was his 4th point of the playoffs. He was the 4th overall selection in the 2010 CHL import draft by Edmonton. This past year was his 2nd with the Kamloops Blazers. And for all information on the Western Hockey League, just go to its website, www.whl.ca. And RE/MAX is proud to support the Western Hockey League and excited to offer fans a chance to win $25,000 in home entertainment prizes. To enter, go to whl.ca and click on the RE/MAX Home Team Contest button. RE/MAX, official realtors of the WHL. It's a 3-1 Kamloops lead through 2 periods of play. Dan Russell, Bill Wilms on the other side of the break on the WHL on Shaw.
Welcome back to the WHL on Shaw. Dan Russell alongside Bill Wilms. 2 periods in the books. Is there only 1 period left in this series? Well, the Kelowna Rockets look, for the most part tonight, like they are playing their 6th game in 9 nights and facing elimination.
Yeah, and facing a Kamloops team that I thought played quite well defensively. They weren't giving them very much inside the Kamloops blue line. You have a look here, Joel Edmondson, that great reach. That's a great stick check. And how about a block here? Watch Grist kind of take it right off his leg, kick it into the corner. Great defense. And how about J.C. LaPont on the back check? Carter Rigby there knocks his man down. And then the goal. This is Franco. Watch him. He literally forces the puck in traffic there. Dan, you called it. You saw it. Kessie turns around and throws it right back out to Bailey. Bailey says, thank you very much. That's a goal that tied it and won. 4-man rush here, right out of their own zone. Right side of your screen, you've got LaPon and Ranford. Mark, that's a 2-on-1 on that side of the ice. Perfect. Now you got 19 McKinley. He's got to get back there to get Herbis. He's too slow, too late getting there. That's the 2-1 goal. You want more? Well, how about an offensive zone penalty? A trip absolutely makes no sense. Stadel on Hansen. And now you're going to see Yulee and make a terrific play. 21, top of the screen, behind the net. There's Needham. Watch him. Nobody picks him up. Yulee takes it from a skate to a stick and puts it right on the guy who's behind the defense. That's Matt Needham. Look at the room he's got. What a play. Avoids the stick check by Jordan Cook and puts it upstairs. That's the 3-1 goal. That's where we stand heading into period number 3.
And the shots through 2 periods play at the bottom of your screen pretty much tell the score. 30-14. Herbis and Needham for Kamloops in that period. Bailey scoring for the Kelowna Rockets. In the first round, when we showed you Medicine Hat at Saskatoon, or versus Saskatoon, the Blades, who were swept, played 0 minutes in the entire series with the lead. Well, in this series, the Kelowna Rockets have led for 7 minutes and 26 seconds. That's it. So it's not quite what the Blades were unable to do, but it's pretty close to that, and it's all uphill through the whole series. That's hard hockey to play, as we've been witnessing. Start this period, the teams are at full strength. Kelowna team in the red uniforms. Stadel over here, Willick, and now chucked in by Cornelsen. Bowie goes back to collect the puck. Madison Bowie, nice feature on him between periods here on Shaw, and away he goes. Bowie lined up and down he goes. Grist stayed right with him as the puck goes now to Cheveldave. Bowie's popped right back up again, but Grist with the old-time hip check.
Well, Sam Grist has done so many good things for this hockey club. Number 3, he's a plus 36 on the season. Got an overtime winner, 100-plus penalty minutes. He's a pretty complete player, and I think a tremendous acquisition from a very good program, the Tri-City Americans.
And tonight suiting up for career playoff game number 35. So that's a lot of postseason experience. Bell tries to bring it in. Ranford couldn't lift it out. Hurt player there as Bailey goes in. Bailey going in for the wraparound, and it goes right through the goal crease area. Herb is still hurt. Down on all fours, finally gets up. I'm not sure exactly what happened to him out near the blue line, but he stays out there right now. So Herbis did not go to the bench, had an opportunity to do so, so maybe not that hurt. As is brought in by Heffley, and now he goes for revenge, and Herbis takes his man up a little bit high. Comes back out to Heffley now. Heffley barely holds it in. Here's a chance for Bailey. One move, backhand, doesn't get it away. Bailey still with possession. Bell now to Franco. Franco comes off the boards. Herb is still out there. Remember, he was hurt about 40 seconds ago. Comes around the boards. Ranford tries to chip it out, and now there is a penalty going on here. Not sure. Must have been way away from the play. It's a roughing penalty. Don't tell me. Oh, now a 10-minute misconduct. Oh, the Kelowna Rockets just a prey to the penalty box, and Bell is getting 2 and 10 from referee Klein. Sorry, it's Bailey. Well, I don't know who's going in there. One's getting a misconduct and one's getting a minor. So maybe Bell gets the 2 and Bailey, who's been suspended, gets the 10. Let's sort it out.
Well, this is what should have been called earlier. You know, watch the elbow that Bell's going to deliver right there on Merrick Herbis, but he crawled over the ice to get his stick. He made a pretty good shift, had some good work in the corner. There's a tag team, a double man on the offensive zone, and well, this game certainly looks like it's getting away from the Rockets.
Oh my. That's Bailey who's going to get the 2. And Bell's going to get the 10. Let's pick up the announcement when they make it here. Puck goes down the ice. Here it is.
To number 24, Tyson Bailey, 2 minutes for roughing. And to the Rockets, number 29, Miles Bell, a 10-minute misconduct. The time of the penalties, 1:42.
So Bell, their leading scorer in the regular season with 93 points, will be done for the next 10 minutes. And Bailey, their leading point getter in the playoffs, in the box for the next 2 minutes or less. This is the 8th power play of the night for Kamloops. We have them 2 for 7 unofficially. And they shoot the puck in. Willig. Now Kessie. There's Bowie. Around the boards it goes. Edmondson's got it. Edmondson puts it down low. Off the boards, Lapon. Back to Edmondson. Down low to Willig. Pass in front. Misses everybody. Edmondson, though, gets the puck to Ranford. Back for Edmondson. Edmondson shot. That block. Heffley stood in front of that, and Edmondson has to go all the way back. Edmondson. Lead pass. Here's Ranford in over the line. It's dropped, but it's held in, and Ranford gets it back again. Behind the net for Willig. Willig can't get it by Martin, but the Blazers get it. They have a chance at the side of the net. Lapon. There's Edmondson now with it. There's J.C. Lapon. 20 seconds to go in the power play. Ranford takes a shot. That's hits McKinley. Ranford tries to feed the point, but nobody there. That's going to do it for the power play. As Bailey gets set to come back on, and the Blazers are 2 for 8. Power plays are 8-1 in the game. Around the boards, here's Fowley. 4 Rockets through center. Fowley with Bailey. Bailey back for Madison Bowie, and that one's tipped out of play.
Question for you, Peter. You know, we did Moose Jaw last year with Joel Edmondson. Did you see the kind of outburst, if you will, offensively that we've seen here this year as a Kamloops Blazer for Joel Edmondson?
Bill, I actually did, because if you go back to how well he played in Moose Jaw in his draft year, he looked like he was going to turn into this type of player. He spent a lot of time dealing with injuries early last season. I never felt like he really got on track, despite the fact that we saw him have some really good moments in the playoffs.
Second round pick by St. Louis in 2011. I think they got themselves a pretty special defenseman.
Played 176 games for that Moose Jaw team in his career. For Nelson, trying to backhand it out to the center ice area. Stadel over here to Bowie. Bowie lead pass. Rigby tips it in. Merkley giving chase. Merkley, wouldn't be surprised to see him play a lot here in the third period as well. And he's been playing lots. And you're going to see and hear that young man's name for a long time, it seems, in the Kelowna roster. As Willig goes in. Willig all the way to the net, and Cook there to meet him at the very end. Needham puts the puck behind the net. Matt Needham's had a terrific series here for the Kamloops Blazers. You look at his performance tonight, he's got a goal. That gives him 2 goals and 4 assists in the 4 games played. Lots of great performers for Kamloops. Here's a chance for Barnett. Scores! Barnett scores another one, and we're back to a 1-goal game. J.T. Barnett jumping on it for his 3rd goal in 2 games.
Unbelievably dangerous is J.T. Barnett. Really, really motivated. Maybe one of the freshest guys on this hockey club. He gets his 3rd goal in 2 games. Nice little work to follow that up. You know, sometimes all you got to do is look for the garbage that your teammates leave. And that's exactly what happened for J.T. Barnett. Dan, with 14:57 left in this period, trailing by 1 now, in a game that's been a huge uphill battle for the Rockets, I expect to see their best part of the entire series against Kamloops.
This is number 24, Tyson Bailey.
Bailey gets another point.
Cole Lineker.
And Lineker, the second assist at 5:03. So Bailey's been in on both goals. Goal and assist. That gives him 8 goals and 6 assists in these playoffs. So a 1-goal game, despite all the shots and all the power plays and all the fatigue. Kelowna still not dead yet. Shot in, and J.C. Lapon starts back. Lapon to Yulee. Yulee will send it in, and Cook waiting for it. Back at the goal. Here goes Bailey. Bailey also fresh, having sat out 2 games with suspension. Bowie following it up. Bowie back, it goes to Franco, and he can't unload the shot. Shot down the ice. Does not appear to be icing. And it's goaltender Cook who plays it up the middle, and Grist has it. As it bounces around, sent in by Kelowna. Bailey giving chase. McKinley in there as well. Barnett, I should say, and that goes right to Shovel Dave, and he holds on to stop the play.
Yeah, JT Barnett, we talked about him being fresh. Bailey, you're absolutely right. Barnett plays with a brace on each one of his knees. And by the way, and I can't figure this one out, JT Barnett, 28,000 followers on Twitter.
Why can't you figure that out?
Well, 28,000 for a CHL player?
Oh, why not?
All right. He's only got 69 tweets. I think you'll see Coach Huska double shift.
I didn't know he only had 69 tweets. Well,
Yeah.
okay, that changes the equation apparently.
Exactly.
Who made you a Twitter aficionado? You weren't even on the Twitter machine about 3 months ago.
Oh, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
I know that.
I'm into it.
I see that. Twitter. Find them on Twitter. Bill. Here's Needham going in. And he couldn't get the shot away. Goulburn starts back the other way. Goulburn in over the blue line. Goulburn takes a shot, and that's turned aside by Shoveldave. Come back out here, and Soto can't control it. Severson trying to weave his way through. Remember, they're without their top goal getter. Bell in the penalty box with a 10-minute misconduct. He'll come out with about 8 minutes to go, so he'll be fresh. Yulee shoots the puck in. Ooh, Cook rather, ran over by his own guy, Martin, as they both were playing the puck. Cook back up, though. LeBron goes in to chop the puck behind the net. Olsen being checked. Ranford back to Yulee. Yulee to LePon, and his shot goes wide of the goal. Nyberg in skates Ranford, trying to dig it out. Yulee puts it in front of the net. Poked back towards the line. Held in by Kamloops, but maybe only for a moment as Olsen got it to Nyberg, and Nyberg gets it out to center. Ranford trying to chop it back in. 8 minutes gone in the third period. A one-goal game. Bowie shooting it in. Around the boards it goes. Kelowna making a change, but they get the puck, and here's Barnett. Barnett gets it right in front. Shot, save, rebound! Another save by Shoveldave. 2 big saves by Cole Shoveldave. And he has been the goalie to shut the door when it gets close. And that was pretty close right there for Kelowna. And here's Barnett again. Barnett having a monster shift here as he tries to put it in front of the goal, and he couldn't. Back the other way. Grist shoots it in. Cook leaves it for Wheaton. Kamloops making a change. Merkley takes that pass. Merkley rolls it in. Cross. Now into the other corner. Soto. They'll have to try to switch it up. Nice play by Soto. He got it to Hansen. Hansen out here to Kessie, who backhands it. Needham giving chase with his speed. Needham's going to win the race. Needham throws it in front, tried to feather it through, but he couldn't find Soto. Back the other way comes Bailey. This game opening up a little bit. We're seeing some of the best action of the night right now. Severson brings it in. Severson feathers it to Bailey in front of the net, and Shoveldave is right there to meet Lineker. Lineker was at the side of the goal. Severson shot, scores! Severson has tied it for the Kelowna Rockets. And you see the big celebration. It's a 3-3 tie here in Game 4.
Boy, does that shot find the top corner. I don't think goaltender Shoveldave ever gets up into a position. And when you're a small goaltender to begin with, and that puck ends up going over top of your shoulder, you got a little bit of a problem. Let's watch the shot way up top. Danny, he's down in the butterfly. Watch goaltender Shoveldave. This is just relentless pursuit by the Kelowna Rockets. There it is, top corner. He couldn't see it, crosses in his way. But I got to tell you, that whole sequence of the last 2 minutes is all started by JT Barnett. And really, Merkley involved as well. Unbelievably, we're not even at the halfway point of the third period. This game is tied.
It's being reviewed.
Under review.
Being reviewed. They're finding a high stick or looking for a high stick. It was called goal on the ice, so they need something video-wise to overturn this. Let's have a look. Wow. Does seem to hit the rocket at the side of the net. Not sure which Kelowna player that is. That's Lineker. So is Lineker's stick below the crossbar or not? Can't tell on that one. I don't see anything to overturn it yet.
How big is this review when your season is on the line? One more look. Severson with the shot. See if there's any change in direction, which there is.
Looks good to me, though.
Wow.
The stick has to be below the crossbar at contact. Let's have a look what the referee's ruling is. And yes, it is. It's a goal. And it's probably going to be Lineker based on that replay. Lineker will get his third from Severson at 9:24, and with a half a period to go, it is 3-3.
Unbelievable. Cole Lineker, 2 goals on the season. He's got 3 in the playoffs. Now one more look. The blade has got white tape on it there. Question is, how high is it? Goes over top of goaltender Cheveldae. There's a lot of net exposed. You hit your stick on it, deflect it, finds the back, and we're tied at 3.
Wait for the announcement here. Has to be Lineker if you're reviewing it, so Lineker from Severson at 9:24, and they go offside. Kamloops
Rockets goal, his third of the playoffs, scored by number 26, Cole Lineker. The assist to number 7, Damon Severson. The time of the goal, 9:24. That's Lineker from Severson.
Well, last night, Kelowna lost a game they felt they probably should have won based on the way they played. Now they're trying to win a game where they haven't been the best team on the ice, but there's so much in it right now. They can maybe steal this thing and get it back to Kelowna for Game 5.
Well, I'll tell you what, they've got Guy Charon and the Kamloops Blazers right now a very, very uncomfortable. Not a good place to be.
And you have to think they're due for another power play, especially if they're moving their feet like this. The power play is being 8-1 in the game. And here they come, Nyberg. Now Lepond gets it out to the neutral zone and tips off Severson down the ice, so no icing. Herbis has it. Gave it right back to Severson, and Severson hands it right away. Here's Herbis, side of the net, tries to feather it through for Ranford, and Ranford gets it to Lepond on the backhand. Puck still loose around the net. Ranford back out to the line, long shot, that's knocked down, and Martin gets possession, and he'll get it out to center. We're in the second half of the third period. Edmondson brings it in. Edmondson going in for a shot, and a rebound is poked wide of the net. Centered it and almost banked in off Olsen. Went off his left foot wide of the net. Here's a chance for Cornelison to move it in front of the goal, but he can't. Backhanded by McKinley out to Rigby. Check that, was Barnett who got it out there. Barnett backhands it in. Barnett, Rigby, and Merkley, this forward line. And they've been good here in this period, especially. 3-3 tied, the fans chanting, let's go Blazers, but here's Stadel, and now Bowie. Bowie goes in for a shot. That's knocked down, and Cornelison will try to start back, but he may be tired near the end of a shift. Goes off his legs, and it's the Rockets' Bowie having it. Kamloops making a change as Bowie sends it in deep. Needham on the far side. Now Grist, Hansen has his hands tied up there as it's Franco coming up with the puck, but he ran into the ref. Needham also in there as they try to dig the puck free. Looked like Needham had it, but he didn't. Now it comes free to Lineker. Grist and Lineker battle, and there's Soto back of the net. A lot of grinding going on here. Who's going to come up with this puck? Blazers do. And on the pinch, there's a 2-on-1 that could have happened if Willick could chase the puck down, but it got it too far, and Wheaton gets it to Bailey. Edmondson puts it in. Under 8 minutes to go in the third. Behind the net, Kessie trying to work it in front. Here comes Kelowna. Fowley. Fowley going wide, almost overskated it, but he did a good job to kick it forward. Fowley has Goulburn and Bailey with him. But the puck comes out here to center ice. Heffley. Now Bowie. Down the ice once more. And there's a loose puck. And a shot stopped as Cheveldae had trouble. And Olsen suddenly had a potential gift on his stick, but Olsen could not finish it. It stays 3-3. And I'll say Kamloops looks uncomfortable right now. Here come the Rockets. Olsen. He can't catch up with it. Severson has it. There's a turnover. Ranford starts back. Hooked off his stick. And here comes Olsen once more. But there are 3 Blazers back. And we got a whistle. What do we have? Too many men on the ice for Kelowna? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's feeling like a too many men on the ice penalty. We'll sort it out when we come back. Wow. WHL playoff action from Kamloops on Shaw. May 17th to May 26th. Just over a month away from the Memorial Cup in Saskatoon, and there's how you can get tickets. That's the information, SaskatoonBlades.com.
We're tied at 3, folks, and nobody, I don't think, saw this coming, but it's Kelowna making it 3-2 on that follow-up. JT Barnett shot, Bailey with an assist, Lineker with an assist. More to come here. This is a shot from the point. It's going to be Severson with this blast. That's deflected on the way to the net with a goal that was under review, but it's a good goal for Cole Lineker. We're tied at 3. The bad news, it's a too many men on the ice penalty for Ryan Huska's team with 6:53 left in this third period. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like 6 guys in red. How does that happen? Oh my goodness.
Last night, when the game was on the line in the third, it was Kamloops that took a too many men on the ice penalty. They took it late in the third. Obviously, Kelowna did not connect to break the tie. Now it's Kamloops' turn on the same situation. The only difference is the power plays last night were not 9-1, and that's what they are right now. Can you believe that? 9-1 are the power plays in the hockey game in favor of Kamloops. They have 2 power play goals. A third one here would snap the tie. Severson, now Yulee, and now Edmondson with it. Edmondson to Ranford over that right point where he's so comfortable, and he often works off the half wall. Yulee can't take that pass too hard. Severson all tied up. J.C. Lapon drops it back. Yulee gives it to Kessie. Kessie gives it to J.C. Lapon. Lapon with the puck, holding. Lapon feathering it through, and it's whacked over on the far side there by Martin. Yulee trying to get it. Kessie's back at the net. Severson gets it and clears it down the ice for Kelowna.
And the key for the Kelowna penalty kill right now is when the Blazers have the puck in their zone, you better not back off the guy with the puck. You can't give him time and space. They pass the puck so well.
Ranford going in. He stays out there. Both units. Ranford. Nice pass. Edmondson shoots. Tipped off the target. Race over on the far side. Ranford trying to kick at it. Heffley gets it. Can he get it out? He may need help. He's going to get it out. Heffley will send it down the ice. Half a minute to go in the penalty. 5.5 to go in the third.
Bowie complaining to the referee about being hooked.
Kelowna, 5 overtimes in their first round. 1 last night gives them 6. Are you kidding me? They're 5 minutes away from a 7th overtime. Willick takes a shot, and that goes over top the net. Olsen moves the puck down the ice. Well, even you get 2 power play goals on a night, you think you're going to be happy with your power play. But when you're given 9 chances, you maybe get a little bit more greedy than 2. Herbis behind the net. Willick, it's a chase over there. Willick got there before Heffley. Penalty's over. But here's a chance. And the shot by Herbis, and the rebound is swept away. Good save by Cook. Now a cross-ice pass. Herbis again, his shot right into the glove of Cook. And he holds on.
That's as big a save, I think, as you can make on this particular penalty kill. Jordan Cook in 4-0, as we talked about in elimination games. That's a huge save, but Merrick Herbis, number 13 for the Blazers, has just absolutely been dynamite since he scored that goal to give this team a 3-1 lead, but the Kamloops Blazers have let that slide. 4:37, we're tied at 3. Wow, another terrific finish here at the Interior Saving Center in Kamloops.
Shots in the third are 10-5 for Kelowna as they battle back with 2 goals here and a big penalty kill. And here's a chance now for Lineker, trying to get behind the defense. Lineker right in on goal! And Shovelday makes a save, and there's going to be a penalty on Whew! It's going to be a penalty on Kelowna again, and the Rockets bench is livid as Yuli brings the puck back. I didn't really see it. I just kind of expected the next one not so much to be the 10-1 power play. Interference, is it on the goalie? Is it on Bailey? It's goalie interference. Well, you can watch and judge at home. Ryan Huska is hot at the bench.
Wow, this is incredible. Lineker gets by, it looks like Hansen along that left wing, and as he cuts to the front of the net, watch if there's any collision between Lineker and the goaltender.
It's Bailey on the follow-up.
Oh, it's Bailey on the follow-up.
Oh, but I don't know.
Wow, one more time, folks. There's the play. Terrific save.
What does Bailey, I mean, maybe it's regular season, it looks like to me. I don't know.
Well, he definitely makes contact with the goaltender, but
not that much
not
contact.
That much,
and the puck's
exactly
in the
right.
corner by then.
Oh, my gosh. Is that one hard to believe for Ryan Huska and any Kelowna Rocket fans out there? Terrific save. Without a doubt, Cheveldave's best. There's a collision. There's a penalty.
Tyson Bailey, 2 minutes for goaltender interference. The time of the
just never seen anything quite like this. 10-1, and the game tied 3-3.
That's a gutsy call, boy. Not so sure you make that call on the road.
Anyway, let's see what happens here. Could there be a shorthanded goal here for Fowley? He comes in one-on-one, and his shot sails wide of the net. The last man back was the forward, Ranford. J.C. Lapon with 3.5 minutes to go in the third. And again, can the power play cash in late? Goulburn gets it out and down the ice. What do you make of the Kamloops power play, Bill? They do have 2 power play goals, but this is their 10th chance.
This game could be well out of reach if that power play had executed.
Here's Yuli going in. Yuli backhand, and the rebound off a skate, and another. Oh, the whistle blows. And the referee, one of them anyway, loses sight of the puck. And a fast whistle. That one aided Kelowna.
Yeah, Ryan Huska with 3:08 left in period 3 and 54 seconds in the penalty kill that he's got to come up with. You got a feeling at this point his goaltender is going to have to make a save or two in this situation still. This is Cole Yuli being forced into a bad backhand shot. Good play by the Kelowna Rockets. That puck out there up for grabs for a little bit. Referee lost sight of it, blew it down.
Always strange for me. I'm sure the other referee didn't lose sight of it, but when one does.
You have to scan the ice quickly, find your refereeing partner and see if he's got a call on it. I don't know. There's obviously got to be a method to that.
We're 5 years or less away from those 2 referees having microphones and headphones in their headset to communicate with each other. That's my opinion on that. I think you'll see that at some stage. Well, there's 31 minutes according to the clock. 31 minutes left in the third. Maybe the clock knows something that we don't.
And the Kelowna Rockets playoff record is 4-6. They've been to overtime 6 of their 10 games. However, Ryan Huska's team only went to overtime 6 times in 72 games during the regular season. Overtime not so new to the Kamloops Blazers. They were in overtime 17 times in the regular season. Not sure. I think that was most of any team in the Western Hockey League, but still a lot to be decided in the next 3 minutes and 10 seconds. I would say Jordan Cook's risen to the occasion, wouldn't you? Goaltender for the Kelowna Rockets after being yanked in last night's game.
Pulled after the first 33 goals and 11 shots. He'll have 3 goals and 36 tonight. That's quite a difference. Here's a face-off won by Kelowna, and down the ice it goes. All the way around the boards, and Chris has it. 46 seconds to go in the power play. Here's Fowley shorthanded. His shot hits a leg, goes wide. Well, it's such a bizarre night that you kind of think the team that's been shorthanded 10 out of 11 times might find a way. Maybe it is going to be their night. Herbis puts the puck down towards Ranford. Soto gets it. Soto behind the net. There's Ranford trying to work it in front. Yuli spinning in the corner. Severson gets it, clears it down the ice. Well, that's going to do it for another penalty. It's got to be the last one of the night. 10's enough, no? That's the last penalty for Kelowna.
I think they'd hope for
They've
one
hit
more.
their quota. I think 10 is the max. There's a mercy rule, I believe, that's very little. It's not invoked very often, but it might be in elimination games. I'm not sure. My goodness. Here goes Kessie. Just don't shoot the puck over the glass, somebody.
That's next.
Barnett goes back the other way. He shoots it in. And I would be, if I'm Kamloops, minding every P and Q in the book. Because if ever a team was due to be shorthanded, it's got to be the home team. Edmondson brings the puck in over the line. Needham's got it. Needham with 1:43 to go in the third period. 3-3 tie. Stadel can't get it. LePon puts it behind the net. Here's Needham from back of the goal. Needham backhands it hard to the side, but Stadel's got it. He's got Barnett taking the outlet pass. 4 Rockets through the neutral zone. Barnett drop pass. Stadel shoots, and it's blocked. He tried to feather it through more than a shot, and Stadel couldn't get it through the man. Here comes Kessie. Kessie going wide. Kessie can't get it in front, and the Rockets almost hand it away as Kessie has it and escapes. He doesn't know he has it, and so Olsen goes in and collects it and shoots it in. And we have just over 1 minute remaining in the third period of Game 4. In the 3-3 tie as it comes out here to Severson. Severson, cross ice, it goes. Hit in by Franco. Lineker giving chase. Bailey's out there. Lineker, Franco, Bailey. Point man can't hold it in. Wheaton was a little slow coming off the bench. Bowie will hammer it right back in again. Round on that dasher, all the way up on the top of the boards, and down the ice it goes as Wheaton has to go back inside his own line. 30 seconds to go. Bailey's got it. Bailey, hard pass down the ice. Wow, that took a funny angle. That did not go icing. That's bizarre. That just hit that corner boards and stayed alive. And it might work out for Kelowna. Franco gets the puck. Back out to Bowie with 18 seconds to go. Long shot. It's knocked down, and J.C. LePon puts it to the line. Bowie can't get it to the Rocket, so it comes out 8 seconds to go. Here comes Hewley, now to Ranford. Ranford with 4 seconds. Drop pass. Herbis for a buzzer beater that hits a stick. And there we go. Back to overtime for the second straight night.
I don't think anybody saw that coming. This team got a ton out of Jordan Cook. He's held them in there. They've just done a terrific job killing penalties. One power play on their own for the Kelowna Rockets. But Dan, that was your classic bending but not breaking in a hockey game. And the Rockets played that period, to me, like a team that won 52 games and lost 16 on the season. But wow, I mean, they outshot this team in period 3. They put themselves in a position to tie it, and they're going to overtime again. My land.
And we'll have lots more coming up.
Well, another late weeknight in Kamloops. Off to overtime again for the second consecutive night. 3-3 tie. Kelowna down 2 going into the third period, and they get to draw even with the Kamloops Blazers back at WHL Central, brought to you by Sierra Sil. One key thing to watch is the health of Dylan Willick. He didn't play for much of that third period.
He took a really big hit, I want to say about 6 or 7 minutes in, was shaken up. I think he played a couple of more shifts after that, but he was not on the bench, the Kamloops captain from Prince George, British Columbia, to end this hockey game. That would be a very, very big blow for a team already without the likes of Colin Smith and Tim Bozar.
Well, what about the job of the Kelowna Rockets? Down 2, you had to wonder what kind of gas was in the tank. Apparently they had more than enough to at least draw even tonight.
Where does it come from? What courage, what character, had a feeling they were going to have 5 or 6 more really good minutes in that period, and you have to give a lot of credit to number 17. JT Barnett scored the second goal, had a couple of big shifts just before the goal, and really turned, I thought, that whole third period around. And maybe one of the reasons is he hasn't played very much in these playoffs. He's a lot fresher than a whole pile of his teammates who, if they are not on empty, headed to the next gas station, then I don't know how they aren't.
Got to wonder about the Kamloops Blazers, and they have to be awfully careful with the power plays so one-sided in this game. Got to be careful if you're Kamloops, I would think, in this overtime.
10-1. And the only, well, I probably had a couple that I was a little concerned with. I wasn't crazy about the goaltender interference penalty, and yet one point I want to make, forget about the power plays, forget about any talk of officiating. Cole Cheveldave, this guy has made some big saves, none bigger in this game than the one off Cole Lineker when the 17-year-old had this game on his stick. That was as good a save as we've seen in this entire series.
It was funny, not long before Damon Severson let the shot go, the win in, you said maybe he was the guy that would have to step up for Kelowna. Sure enough, he does. Gets the shot through that was tipped in.
Well, he did. He let an enormous shot go, the second-round pick of the New Jersey Devils from Melville, Saskatchewan. Good Melville boy. Again, I don't know how this back end of Kelowna is doing it. I really don't. I know they're kids. They've got a pile of energy. But here we go again. They are now in overtime for the 7th time in these playoffs. That has to probably, I would think, be bordering on some type of record for overtime games played in that stretch. This is their 11th game of the postseason. This will mark the 7th trip to an extra period.
Who stood out for you with Kamloops? Anybody that's really jumped out that we haven't touched on tonight?
I wouldn't say anybody that we haven't touched on in this game. I think they've been a lot more assertive in their play. I think Joel Edmondson's had a very good night on the back end. And yet, you know, it's been another what I would refer to from Kamloops' standpoint is a solid, more efficient game. I think on the whole tonight they've done a really good job of moving their feet. To a man, they would admit last night was not their best night. Tonight, if they don't find a way to win this game, it might be a little bit of tit for tat where they probably have deserved better. And their power play, despite the fact that, yes, they have a couple, there's been a couple others they'd probably like to have back. But, you know, I think a much better effort by Kamloops tonight as opposed to what we saw in this building last night.
What do you think about their power play and why it had so much trouble in the third period, especially late?
Well, I think the absence of Tim Bozon and Colin Smith as the series continues. I mean, those guys are just critical. Smith's such an unbelievable puck mover. The way he sees the ice, he can finish. Bozon has scored a pile of goals in his first 2 years in the league on the power play. He shoots it immensely well. So those are two really, really big cogs out of that particular part of your game.
You've been down here at the rink for the game day skates. Colin Smith has been on the ice. What have you seen?
Well, in the last 2 days, he's skated, and he has skated hard, to put it least. They've really put him through the paces. Not surprised. My guess is if tonight was an elimination type of game or they trailed in a series, he may have played. And I would guess we could see him in this series if it got to maybe a game number 6.
All right, prediction time. Who you got for both sides?
Good. I'm ready tonight. Some nights I'm thinking Henrik Nyberg is my pick for the Kelowna Rockets, and Cole Yulee, who is due, and I can't say enough good things about the Calgary product. That is my call tonight.
Oh, well, you took my Kamloops guys, so I'll go with Brendan Ranford for the Blazers. Tyson Bailey's my pick for the Kelowna Rockets this evening.
You really went out on a limb, didn't you, with those two guys?
Yes, and Bailey
way to go.
scored
One of the
tonight.
best in the business, conservative, warm, one of the best right here.
We'll take a quick time out. When we come back, a little bit more in the intermission through 3 periods. It's tied again, going to overtime when we come back to the WHL on Shaw. JT Barnett and Cole Lineker getting the Kelowna Rockets back on even terms. 3-3 bound for overtime for the second consecutive night. 16th overtime in these WHL playoffs. Kamloops winning. J.C. LaPon last night was the hero. And this tonight was one of 3 elimination games going on in the Western Hockey League. Let's take a look at the other 2 that were happening on the Sierra Sail out-of-town scoreboard. Henrik Samuelsson scored twice tonight, including the winner in the Edmonton Oil Kings. Griffin Reinhardt had the winner. Samuelsson, though, with 2 in a 4-2 win for the Edmonton Oil Kings, getting through Medicine Hat in 4 straight.
The Oil Kings with a 5-game victory in round 1. Somewhat surprising that Medicine Hat wasn't able to find a way in one of those games, but the Edmonton Oil Kings are rolling. They're on a mission. They not only have a mission to repeat as champions, which would be the first time, by the way, seeing that we're in Kamloops, since the 1994-95 Kamloops Blazers did it, and also won Memorial Cups along the way.
Hunter Shinkarik had a shorthanded goal for the Tigers in that game, who led twice in that contest. And the Portland Winterhawks They are the reigning Western Conference champions the last 2 years. They're off to the Final Four once again with a 5-0 win over the Spokane Chiefs. And Ty Ratty, who was tied for the goals lead in the WHL playoffs when Cale Kessie scored in the first period, takes the lead over again with his 11th.
He probably found out. Make no mistake about it. Leipzig, Petan, Ratty, said it a couple of times during this particular playoff round. They're as dangerous as any line in the entire Canadian Hockey League. Forget about just the Western Hockey League. That is a special, special group. And you know, Andy, at the end of the day, when you talk about the Portland Winterhawks, here's a scary thing for the rest of the league. And we've made mention of how many forwards they'll return. But when you consider that Nicholas Petan and Chase Delio are their number 1 and 2 centers, Andy Neal, they are 17 years of age in hockey terms. Yeah. That is absolutely terrifying. And then you add the likes of Oliver Bjorkstrand from Herning, Denmark, who's another 1995-year-old, and Taylor Lear, he's a 18-year-old. It's just, they're such a talented group. And yet, at the end of the day, to me, another factor with the Portland Winterhawks and a big reason that they swept Spokane, and I'm a little shocked. I thought that Spokane might win a game or two in that series, but Portland's top 4 on defense of Rutkowski, Seth Jones, Derek Pouliot, and maybe the one defenseman in this league that never gets enough credit, in my opinion, second-round pick of the Calgary Flames, a member of our World Junior team, and thought he played very well for his country, in Tyler Wotherspoon. Stay at home, has had a sensational year, led the entire league in plus-minus when it was, defenseman in plus-minus when it was all said and done. He has turned himself into a terrific player, and I think he's going to play at the highest level.
Game 5 tomorrow night, Calgary and Red Deer. What do you expect to see from the Saddle Dome?
Well, Chris Drieger has more than answered the bell. When we mentioned this series going into it, I really thought, would this be Chris Drieger's time? And when you talk to people who I trust a ton, like Cam Moon, the longtime voice of the Red Deer Rebels, and he tells you that a big difference in that series has been Chris Drieger. And when you consider who he's going up against in goal at the other end, who I think might be as good as anybody in the league, in Patrick Bartaszak, who is up for the NHL draft, boy, that's quite a compliment to Mr. Drieger.
All right, well, let's go upstairs. Dan Russell, Bill Wilms, ready to go with overtime, guys.
Yes, we're ready, and I'm sure the Kelowna Rockets, who have had a lot of practice in this postseason playing overtime, they're probably as calm as anything in the dressing room, I would think. I mean, it's been pretty gutsy by Kelowna here.
Yeah, they've been patient. They've been, I want to say, disciplined. They haven't been disciplined penalty-wise. But, you know,
they're hanging in there.
They absolutely are. How about Dylan Willick splitting Stadler and Bowie and then finding another gear to take it to the front of the net? That's very impressive. Now, how about this little play along the wall? This is Bailey. A little pass. It's going to come from Lineker. Lineker, this is just great defense by Hansen on Bailey. But the garbage is left there for JT Barnett. Look, he plays them perfectly, Hansen does. But that little pass there, that little puck garbage was found by JT Barnett. That made it 3-2. Now, odd man rush here. Good job by Kelowna to get it behind the net. Once the Rockets get that puck way back there with 3 forwards caught deep, that can't go on a Kamloops Blazer stick. It doesn't. It goes to Severson. The shot deflected here by Cole Lineker. That tied it at 3. And this is how close Lineker came to ending this in regulation. What a great job. Cole Lineker blew his knee out in his Bantam draft year, Dan. He's 70% deaf in 1 ear, and he has had a spectacular game here tonight for the Kelowna Rockets.
As we get ready for this overtime, I'm mindful of the overtime our shot cameras had 4 years ago, the second longest game 4 years ago on this date, April 10, 2009. Spokane's Blake Gall beat the Vancouver Giants that night after 126 minutes and 5 seconds of action. Second longest game, the longest one, the Kamloops Blazers were in it. They lost to Kootenay in March of 2003 in a game that had 137 minutes of action. I'm predicting that those 2 long games will not be challenged tonight, but you just never know what you're going to see. Stu, what do you have?
Yeah, Dan, Dylan Willick is back on the Blazers bench. He will play in overtime. Colin Robinson just saying all he can tell me right now is upper body, but I am speculating shoulder. Saw them kind of working on it a little earlier in the tunnel, but Dylan Willick is back for the Blazers.
He had an overtime goal in Victoria in game number 4. Willick and LaPon have overtime goals. Bell and Bailey have overtime goals. Bell back on the ice after a misconduct. Here's Kesey's shot. That sails high and wide. Needham, now Hansen. Hansen takes a long shot that sails wide of the net. Kesey on the chop at the side of the net. There's a centering pass for Needham. And Needham, I think, got a skate on that one, and it goes wide of the net. And now flipped out of play. Oh, no, not another one. There's what I was talking about 20 minutes ago, Bill. Puck over the glass, and the power plays are 11-1.
That matters with Bowie?
Does it matter?
Does it really matter? Exactly right. Wow.
But you're right, it is
just goes from bad to worse. You're spending the whole game killing penalties. Tell you what, this is a big power play for the Kamloops Blazers. You get a feeling. 2
playoff games in this building over 2 nights. The power plays, I have them at 17-5 in favor of the home team. 17-5 in 2 playoff games. Ranford to LaPon. LaPon in over the blue line. Throws it in front of the net. Here's Willick now. Willick, fresh ice, long change for Kelowna. Can Kamloops end it on this power play? Edmondson, hard cross-ice pass. Spinning is Kesey. Kesey going to the net. Throws it in front. Oh, and it's just tapped wide. Is that LaPon or was that Willick? Goes back to Edmondson. Edmondson to Ranford. Hard pass in front. They whack at the puck. They're still whacking it, and Cook turns it aside. Rockets get it and shoot it down the ice as Olsen got it the length of the ice. And a chance for Kelowna on the long change to make the long change. Ranford bringing it in. Clears it to the boards. Gobbled up by Wheaton, but only for a moment. Yulee ties him up. Yulee puts it back at the net. Throws in front. Soto takes a shot. Soto and another chance, and Cook puts his glove over top of it, and he holds on to stop the play.
You know, for the Kamloops power play to be successful, they've got to have Kesey in front and let the other 2 guys, whoever they might be, LaPon, Willick, Ranford, Soto, be the guys that do the dirty work in the corner. Well, what happens is you're going to see the front of the net. You get 2 guys. You see the 2 guys for the Kamloops Blazers? That's not what works for them. And that's why that puck was so easily shot out of the zone.
Still a minute to go in the power play, just under. Soto to take the face off. He gets it to Needham, and it rolls towards Cook, who keeps it alive. Cook gets it to Goulburn. Goulburn's all tied up. He can't get loose. Here's Soto. Soto with Needham. Soto to the net. Hits Cook. Where is it? It's behind him, and the referee blew the whistle. I'm not sure why. Did it go out of play to hit the netting behind the Kelowna goal? But we do get a whistle.
I can't believe the growth in Chase Soto in this playoffs. You know, he had 15 goals this year. He had 11 last year. But Chase Soto has been just nothing short of dynamic this entire playoff for these Kamloops Blazers.
Purvis, cross ice, Grist, long shot, goes down towards the net. Here's Yulee getting it. Yulee to Needham. Needham back out here to Grist. Grist back for Needham. Needham going in. Needham passes it off. Shots by Yulee is stopped by Cook, and the whistle blows.
Yeah, once they get that puck on this particular play to the side of the net, it's just a muscle job. There's not much going to happen after that puck goes to that spot. It's going to be right there. It's going to be muscled in by Yulee. He doesn't get a lot at it, but look at number 12 in front of the net. Chase Soto again hacking and whacking, looking for a rebound.
29 seconds to go in the power play. Ranford's back out there at the right point. Willick, Kesey, LaPon up front. Ranford and Edmondson at the back. Here's Ranford taking the puck. Ranford dishes it off. Willick holds. Quick shot, save, rebound, back to Edmondson. Shot! And it's gloved by Cook, and we got a hurt player as that Fowley shaken up.
Right off that face-off, puck's going to come back to Ranford. Good face-off win by Willick inside the zone 19. Here's the one shot coming by off that right side by Willick, and then a blast from the left side by Joel Edmondson. You know how hard he likes to shoot and how often he shoots it.
Ranford to try to win the draw. Back it comes. Here's a shot by Edmondson, and it goes wide. Rebound. Ranford tries to put it for LaPon, and then it goes up way high. Kesey gloves it down, and he can't get the shot away. Penalty nearly over. Here's Edmondson, though. Edmondson down low. Redirected, and he scores! the Blazers have done it. They've swept Kelowna with 4 seconds to go in the heartbreaking puck over the glass penalty. It is the Kamloops Blazers on their 11th power play of the night that finishes off the Kelowna Rockets. And for the first time since 1999, Kamloops will play for the conference title. Cale Kessie has done it again. 2 goals tonight for Kessie. He's got 11 on the season for the playoffs.
What patience by Joel Edmondson. What a wonderful job of reading the ice. We talk about Cale Kessie's office in front of the net man. His office is right off to the side now. Watch this. J.C. LaPorte in front of the net. And Jordan Cook.
Cale Kessie
gave it every single thing that he could possibly give here tonight. What a series, what a playoff Cale Kessie had.
It had been 17 years since Kamloops had won an overtime game in their own rink, and now they have 2 in 2 nights. 17 years and 2 in 24 hours. That's why we love sports. You never know what you're going to see. What we're seeing now is a handshake by 2 teams that don't like to lose to each other, but they have a big-time respect for one another. And this is going to be a tough pill for Kelowna to swallow because they were shorthanded all night long. And the killing blow comes on a penalty that the referees have no choice but to call.
Yeah.
It's puck over the glass. It's that automatic rule. Never been a fan of it myself. But that's toothpaste that's not going back in the tube. And you got to live with the consequence of putting it over. And for Madison Bowie last night, he was the one who turned the puck over, and now Madison Bowie, unfortunately for him, is the player who put the puck over the glass. And Kamloops on that power play wins the series.
That's just good puck possession, good poise with the puck. Kessie with that battle takes that great big hit to keep that puck alive. Cale Kessie not only scores that goal, but takes one heck of a hit to get it back to the point. We talked about this earlier. Kessie developed so much skill as a hockey player, knowing that he certainly couldn't take any more suspensions as far as his conduct is concerned. And listen to this crowd.
I don't think there'll be the curtain call there was last year when Kamloops beat Portland in Game 6 of Round 2 to force a 7th game. They went all the way out just like they're going now, and the fans stayed on their feet until they came back concert style for an encore salute. But I don't think they'll do that here tonight. Nonetheless, the Kamloops Blazers through. And what do you have to say about Cale Kessie? That Bill has already said, but this guy has just become magic in the playoffs with 2 more goals tonight and 11 on the season. Believe he's standing by. Are we ready to go down to Stu Walters?
Thanks very much, Dan. Here with the overtime hero, Cale Kessie, 2nd goal of the night. How does it feel to be a hero and send your team into the WHL final there?
It feels great to get the win. Definitely can't take credit for that win. I struggled a little bit there in the 2nd and 3rd, and my teammates bailed me out there, especially Chevy, and it was just a nice pass by Eddie there, and it found me back door, but it's nice to go down to the 3rd round now.
No Colin Smith, no Tim Bozon. Talk about you stepping up, though, in more of an offensive role. How proud of you of doing that?
Yeah, it's 2 huge players out of the lineup, and they're definitely missed, but a lot of guys stepped up, and we're just happy with the win.
Talk about the resolve of your team after Kelowna scores 2 goals in the 3rd there to force it into overtime. Not sure if you guys hung your heads, but talk about how proud you are of your teammates.
Yeah, for sure. It's nice to get the win. It's just a good feeling. They had us on our toes there. My line, especially me, I didn't play great there in the 2nd and 3rd, and they had us hemmed in our zone, but it's definitely nice to get the feeling of the win there.
Not sure how Portland's doing in their game against Spokane, but it looks like they might be going through. Do you know of the rivalry that exists between the Blazers and Portland if you do in fact meet them?
Yeah, it's definitely last year going to Game 7. I heard just looking forward to it. My last year at junior, I want to try and go as far as I can, and great group of guys in the locker room.
And it will indeed be Kamloops and Portland in the next round. Well done, Cale. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's head up back to Dan Russell.
And don't forget, guys, Cale Kessie with 2 hat tricks in that series against Victoria. Both hat tricks on the road. Yeah, he was special.
2:24, the time of the first overtime period. Cale Kessie getting his second of the game, 11th of the playoffs, tied with Ty Ratty for the WHL goals lead. The hero that moves Kamloops on to round number 3.
An incredible story when you think about the fact all the suspension trouble he had early in the season was with Medicine Hat, ended up in the American Hockey League. Many people didn't think he would come back to junior hockey. He ends up in a couple of trades, makes his home in Kamloops, and now he's one of the stars of the show through 2 rounds.
You know, we saw Cole Sheveldave get one of the stars in the building tonight. He bent but hasn't broken at all in this series for Kamloops and net.
Made all the big saves, and matter of fact, why not catch up with Cole Sheveldave, who I believe is with our Stu Walters.
Thanks very much, Peter. And Cole, talk about that topsy-turvy, momentum-changing game. How does it feel to be going through the second round here?
Oh, it feels great. We're 1 step ahead of last year, so that's always great in our books, but we're just pushing, and we want to keep going further and further into the playoffs.
How important was it for your team not to hang your heads, even yourself? You had a great game, but 2 goals allowed in that third period for Kelowna to get back in it and go into overtime. How important that you guys showed some resolve there?
Well, I think we just knew that we needed to keep pushing. Good things will eventually come our way, and not give up. It's the final thing we needed to do, and boys came out in overtime, forced a penalty down there, and from there on I knew I was like, we got this one.
Interesting playoff game. Have you ever been involved in a playoff game where you guys had 11 power plays?
No, I haven't. Not at all. Can't really say too much about it. Just the way the game folded. And it's a good thing for us, and we capitalized on 2 of them, so that was good.
You mentioned battling, and that's how your coach describes you. Such a competitor, never giving up on pucks. How proud are you of that description from Guy Charon?
Hey, that's what my play is built around. I'm a smaller goalie, and I got to battle to make certain saves that other goalies would be taller than me have to maybe make it a little bit easier, but it's just the way I play, and I'm happy with it.
Pretty spirited series with Portland last year. Do you look forward to seeing them again and renewing that rivalry?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a heated series, that's for sure, and this building is rocking in that series, so I can't wait for the fans to get going again in that one.
Thanks very much, Cole, and good luck in the next round.
Thank you very much.
Let's head back up to Andy and Peter.
Thanks very much, Stu, and to Cole as well. There's a look at the Cal Tire 3-star selections tonight. Cale Kessie, the number 1 star, with 2 goals in the overtime winner. Cole Lineker had the goal and an assist for the Kelowna Rockets. He's the 2nd star tonight, and Cole Sheveldave coming through again in net for Kamloops, the 3rd star this evening. So the Blazers and Portland Winterhawks had that memorable 7-game series last year in the second round. Kamloops almost accomplished what Kelowna did against Seattle in the first round this year. They were down 3-0. But one thing, when you talk to anybody around here, there's bad blood between the 2 sides.
If you live in this area and you don't find a way to buy a ticket for games 3 and 4, you're doing yourself a disservice. The entertainment value of that series, the high-end players that you will be able to witness. If you're Kamloops, you certainly hope that Colin Smith is ready. I think he will be. You hope Tim Bozon will be ready with that hand injury. That might be a little more questionable. You hope Dylan Willick, the captain and such a key piece, is ready to go. But you are in for some kind of treat in the Western Conference Final.
So both teams with sweeps tonight. Portland eliminated Spokane, but a final thought on the Kelowna Rockets and what they had to go through in the playoffs and what they did to get this far.
The 2nd team ever in league history to battle all the way back from a 3-0 deficit. They did it without their leader, their key guy in Colton Sissons. They did it in a series where they ended up without 7 regulars in their lineup and fought back to beat Seattle. They showed you in these last 2 nights the kind of character, the kind of organization, and the kind of quality young people that they have to go forward with. And this team we'll be around to watch that team again at this time next year. You can almost take that straight to the bank.
7 overtimes for the Kelowna Rockets
What
in the
character?
2013 playoffs for them, but last year's BC Division champs knock out this year's BC Division champs in 4 straight in the Cal Tire Western semifinal. Cale Kessie, the winner tonight in overtime, and the Blazers move on to round 3. WHL Central brought to you by Sierra Sil. WHL Playoffs brought to you by Husky and Cal Tire. Here's a look at the other 2 games. Hard to believe 3/4 of the Final 4 are set after tonight, with Edmonton getting rid of Medicine Hat in 4 straight to knock off the Tigers tonight by a 4-2 count at the arena in Medicine Hat. And the Portland Winterhawks will face the Kamloops Blazers in the Cal Tire Western Final with a 5-0 win over the Spokane Chiefs and a 4-0 series sweep.
It will be a highly, highly entertaining and highly skilled series between those 2 teams.
In our final this evening, Kelowna trailed 3-1 after 2, came back to tie it, but Cale Kessie wins it in overtime. 4-3 the final for the Blazers. We're back to wrap on the other side of the break.
When blades clash with ice, when tigers and cougars claw it out, when wheat kings battle oil kings, wherever you find the WHL, we're there.
The WHL, the best players in hockey's best development league. World-class coaching, top-notch facilities, and passionate fans. The WHL, raise your game. Well, the Kamloops Blazers, for the first time since 1999, advanced to the conference championship. They knocked out the Kelowna Rockets in 4 straight, but did they ever have to sweat to get it tonight? A 4-3 overtime win, back-to-back OT winners for the Blazers. J.C. LaPon last night and Cale Kessie this evening. So we will join you again in the conference final. We'll go to the Eastern Conference side of the ledger, where the Edmonton Oil Kings, who advanced tonight with their 4-game sweep over Medicine Hat, will face the winner of Calgary and Red Deer. Game 5 of that Hitman Rebel series goes tomorrow, with Calgary up 3-1. For Dan Russell, Bill Wilms, Peter Labardius, Stu Walters, and the rest of the WHL Unshot crew, I'm Andy Neal. Thanks so much for watching this evening, and so long from Kamloops. We'll talk to you again next week.